Yeah, we stream. We live and direct. What is going on? This is not the RGA Podcast. We got Blake, we got Baba, we got El Fuego, and we got Brian Townsend. What's up, everybody? I hear echo on somebody there.
Yeah.
Sorry about
If you got it playing on your phone, shut it off.
Yeah.
That was my bad.
Oh, you're good. You're good. Yeah, I felt like streaming just because I know RGA is not going to make it this week, or if he's going to stream for a little while. He's doing his thing, and it's nice. I love the Discord, but video wins. It wins.
Oh, definitely.
El Fuego, I see your hat, man. You're looking good. Well, we lost Brian already. We'll get him back.
Eventually.
Yeah, I got a couple stickers too, Andy.
Awesome. That's cool. That's why I put it on the website, because, you know, I do make the merch. I don't have the hats, which is cool. You can get that. But, you know, it's a pain in the butt making t-shirts and vinyls and doing all that stuff, man. It's tedious work. I miss my vinyl guy. I had a really good vinyl guy. I literally paid maybe $10 more for, like, a big order than making it myself. Like, this dude was doing it for free, and I think that's why he quit.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
How do I bring up the chats to see who's chatting if anybody's not on stream with us? How do I do that?
It should be right on the right-hand side here.
Yeah, there's a private chat and then comments.
Comments?
Yes.
I'm not
Yeah,
seeing
see, mine's
that.
not even showing the private for some reason. Dude, I'm telling you, this computer's messed up. I'm telling you. Yeah, it might be just because I'm the admin on this. I'm not too sure. I forget. But usually it shows private, too.
Okay,
Yeah,
I saw your
private
private
chat,
chat.
it shows
I see a private chat, Blake.
Okay, I see
Okay.
you, Blake. I see you. Always technical difficulties. Always.
Andy,
Discord
when
channel.
do you find time for your 9 to 5? I mean, it seems like you're always on something.
I know, man. I know. Well, it was nice this week, given the circumstances that Kaylee. I know, I don't sleep. I mean, that's the thing. I usually work around this time. I leave at 7 o'clock at night, and then I'm out till maybe 1 a.m. at the earliest. If it's a real close store, usually we leave later and we get home around the same time. But I'm usually up till 1 a.m. till 4 a.m. every night, which, yeah. So, I mean, it works for doing the late night podcast. Like, I'm not tired, really. But to get anything done in the day, it's tough, man. You know, I've been doing it for years. My dad's been doing it forever. It's okay. I wish I had a 9 to 5, you know, like where I could just wake up. I like waking up in the morning, man. The air tastes and smells different. I don't get that, but I get that night air. You know, I'll go on the moped and just drive for like freaking 20 miles and just, there's no one on the road. It's nice.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I
still-
love it when you
say-
hit up a Walmart parking lot. You know it's the middle of the night when there's not a single car in Walmart, and you're out there doing a demo with your quad box.
Right.
Out there in the parking lot. It's the funniest thing in the world, man. I love it.
Yeah.
I know. I'm surprised I don't get more complaints, but you know, it works.
Stillwater driving east on Highway 51. It's like 5 minutes and nothing is around you.
Wow. See, that's where I need to live, you know, out in the boonies where it's just, there's nothing. There's
You
nothing.
do need to live in Stillwater.
I know, man, you know, everyone jokes like, oh, when you moving to Stillwater, when you doing this? And it's like, man, if they would just say, we got a job for you, and then it's like, okay, well, I still got to get all my eggs together. I got my family up here, getting a house. You know what I mean? That's a lot. It's a lot, one, and then two,
Although
I'm
housing
sure
in Stillwater is super cheap.
that's what I hear.
Andy, I did actually, on your behalf, look at some housing pricing down there.
Yeah.
I cannot
I was going to be
believe the
moving here
value.
before too long.
I mean, I cannot believe the value you can get.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, even the new construction houses. I mean, it was just amazing. Really nice houses.
Wow.
For an absolute bargain.
Yeah,
I know.
Like, 'cause I'm in one of the most expensive apartments in all of Stillwater because I'm 2 blocks away from the university, and it's still like $500 a month.
Damn. I mean, that's a lot cheaper than up here, man. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
the house behind us is 2-bedroom, and it's like $700, and it's like you don't even get a yard, you don't get a drive, we get one parking space, and $700, and that's cheap. That's cheap. We pay $900, and we got the whole house, but we're sharing the backyard with another house, which is why it's cheaper. Usually, a whole house is like $1,400 a month just to rent. Buying, I mean, anytime you buy a house, it's cheaper, but you know, I don't know. I'm kind of glad, you know, we weren't able to get finance for a house because, you know, at that time I wasn't thinking about moving to Stillwater. Now it's like, it's a possibility, and I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
So you're saying $1,400 for a house? Shit, that's rent for a 1-bedroom apartment here in Vegas.
I know Vegas and New York, man. That's really high cost of living, man. How do you do it, Bubba? How do you do it?
Yeah, I have a home. I don't rent.
Damn. That's crazy, man. Now, what's it like living in Vegas out that way? I know Fuego's out your way too, but he's a little bit more north. What's it like living in Vegas? My uncle lives out there.
You're literally in a desert. You're in a valley. You're in a dust bowl. So basically, when you enter into the valley, you can see the transition in the particulate matter in the air. I mean, you can see the dust. And when you're down in the valley, it's not as prevalent. But when you're leaving Vegas and you're entering Vegas, you can clearly see it.
That's crazy. So I'm guessing the air quality isn't the greatest.
It varies. You know, obviously on windy days it gets better because it displaces everything. But you know, all the industrial activity, construction, and, you know, we have a gravel pit, and there's all kind of weird, you know, industrial areas constantly with movement. So
and also you're having to breathe in Baba's funk.
Jeez. That's insane.
It's not that bad. I mean, you know, my being from Hawaii, you know, I'm used to living at sea level. You know, we're slightly elevated. We're a couple thousand feet up in the ocean. You know, you don't notice it because it's not high enough to affect your inner ear. You know, when you're up in the mountains and stuff, your ear pops.
Right.
But it took a while getting used to the dry weather here. The humidity is really low, but it gets really hot. It's a different type of hot.
Wow.
So every time when we go back home, as soon as we get out of the plane, I mean, you start to sweat profusely because you're acclimated to dry heat. Whereas in Hawaii
I was going to say, that's what I heard. It's like a little bit more humid up here for our heat compared to out your way, where it's just low humidity and it's higher temperatures, but it's a little bit more bearing.
Man, I'd rather have 110 at like no humidity than even like 90 at 70%.
So it's tolerable to up to 105 degrees. So once it gets above 105, you know, if you happen to be in a warehouse where there's swamp coolers and stuff, the swamp coolers don't work because it can't, you know,
can't put any more humidity in. Yeah,
it does. It literally does nothing because by the time it dispenses, it basically evaporated in the air and it doesn't transmit the coolness down to, you know, people below the swamp coolers.
Wow, that's the thing that I heard. Where what is it? Freaking Reviews. He was the main guy that I seen with all those Arctic swamp coolers, you know, you see, and he's like, they ain't doing nothing out here. But if you have low humidity, I guess it can help. But I mean, within reason. I mean, shoot. I mean, swamp coolers do work, but not in Vegas, or not in high humidity, should I say? That's crazy, though.
Once it gets 105, basically, we shut the swamp coolers off in the warehouse. Unfortunately, the warehouses I'm in, there is no air conditioning, but we're getting a larger facility, and we're relocating into it, and those are going to be air conditioned. So everyone's excited about that.
Hey,
nice.
It's always a plus when you're getting AC, you know?
Yeah, always.
And I hope they do it right by utilizing, you know, solar on top. And this is going to be a pretty big warehouse. It's going to be 500,000 square feet. And hopefully they do the entire roof because, you know, it'll pay for itself over time.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Absolutely. Now, what kind of warehouse is it for exactly? What is it?
So I work in the slot manufacturing industry.
Slot manufacturer. So you make slot machines, parts for them, or?
I'm with Aristocrat Technologies. I'm one of the logistics leaders here at this facility.
Wow. That's awesome. That's awesome, man.
Glorified term for warehouse manager.
Damn. How long you been doing that for?
with this particular company about 10 years now, going on 11 years.
Wow.
But I've been in the gaming industry for 23 years.
Hey, that's where the money is, no pun intended, you know.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but I've been in the gaming industry for about the same amount of time, just in a different capacity, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So you're probably one of our vendors that supports the parts we get.
Yeah.
No, you're a participant. You're a gambler. On behalf of the venues you visit, we thank you.
I've only went gambling twice. The second time I went, I didn't even do any gambling. I just went for the environment. But the first time I went in. I think I put about $20 to $40 into it, and I got out $80 on top of everything, and got to buy everyone drinks. And then I never went back.
Nice.
One and done.
Last time I was in Las Vegas, I spent more time walking around in fascination with the architecture and the buildings. It was just like, where else in the world do you have all this kind of stuff happening? It was amazing to me, you know.
That is impressive.
It was very impressive, and you know, you need a certain kind of economic conditions to be able to drive that sort of, you know, infrastructure and architecture. I was just blown away.
But you know what's alarming is I don't know if you've seen those videos online recently about the water levels in Lake Mead. Yeah, I mean, it's time to panic.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Scary.
I don't watch the
crazy.
news enough. I wish I did. You know, so much hoopla on the news. I'm just like, base.
There's a few streamers that, you know, they're here in Vegas and they frequently monitor it because, you know, they're local too. And it's just that every few months they move the dock back a couple 100 feet.
Wow.
So I mean, moves like that is like holy macro. So basically they let water run through the dam. That's how they generate power, and it goes over to California. They could preserve some of that water, but then at the expense of not making electricity.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a catch-22. I mean, you know, you cut your knees with power, or you know, try and retain water, but with the water just sitting there, it'll eventually evaporate. You know, if it's not being consumed continually.
Right. That's crazy, man.
So we got to hope for a good winter where the snowpack is, you know, as such, where it can replenish it. You would think that heavy rains would put water back in the lake. That's not the case. I didn't realize that the way the aquifer works and the way water comes, the primary water source is actually the Rocky Mountains. And it's just mind-blowing.
Yeah, I've been in some of those northern parts of the Colorado River where it's still fairly small.
Wow. See, I feel like I live in a good area. I don't have to worry about stuff like that. That's why I'm like, man, I don't know. Like, if I would move anywhere, it probably would be Stillwater or not too far away. Because, you know, I don't know. I just feel like certain areas, it's just there's higher risk and higher reward, too, with where you live. How about you, El Fuego, up in the Pacific Northwest? Is it a lot cooler up there?
No, we, for the most part, we get the marine, you know, temperate weather. So coming off the ocean on the West Coast, it never gets too cold in the winter. It never gets too hot in the summer either. You know, our colder temperatures in the winter are down around, you know, freezing overnight, and in the summer rarely gets over 90 and then cool off at night. So we don't have tornadoes or hurricanes or anything like that.
Just fires.
I'm just taking notice to the chat. I didn't realize that we have quite a group here and the guys are chatting. What does that mean, S-Sound SQ? What the hell does that mean, man? Does that mean pinkies up? Well, what the hell does that
mean? You're too fancy for SPL, sir. SQ for you.
It's probably one of those weird Australian terms.
That was funny.
I can't. Yeah, we got a few people joining. You know, I wouldn't mind doing this stuff on my own channel, but goddamn algorithms, you know, and then you go live and they're like, oh, I don't want to watch this. I just want to watch that. And
yeah,
it's going to mess with your metrics big time.
Yeah. But I want to be able to chat with you guys too. And I like the StreamYard, you know, features. And it's like, boom. And yeah, here we are.
So John and I don't know who led it. Blake, who led us into the call, and then we started doing a video chat. And how did that conversation come about? But basically, we jumped into the Discord voice.
Me and John were trying to get people to actually start using the voice chat, so we just hopped in there and figured, people will eventually start using this now that they realize it's a thing.
Because we only did it that one night. We've never done it again.
Yeah, we've done it twice. You weren't there for the second one.
Oh.
Hey, I've been out of the loop. I'm sorry. Usually I try to jump in once a day or so.
Yeah.
I seen that option. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. But, sometimes you don't use every feature that an app has. But that's cool that you guys can do that too, you know.
And you can also, have videos and stuff in it.
Really?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let's log out. We're going there. No,
if we go to Discord, I wonder if we can get this freaking camera to work. It's one of those cheapy 720p deals. I got my good gear in my room, and my kids are playing video games, and I got a few big screens that I use for my computer, and it's tied in for video games for the kids. But I gotta get a better setup in here. So, on a Friday night, if we happen to be doing this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. You always got to have the gear ready.
I see 25 and Deviant in the chat. When do we get them fools on stream, man?
Eventually we will.
Without the head, without the horse head, and without the socks, man.
The horse head, yeah.
Not
We
gonna
need
happen,
the full
Baba.
picture. We need the full picture. I feel like Deviant would come around before 25 would. I feel like he's going to be the
Definitely.
nut to crack. But I feel like eventually we'll get him. We have to. If not, we're going to have to track him down.
So Stu, I'm from Hawaii. Everybody tells me I have an accent, but to me it's just regular English.
Yeah.
I can tell a little bit. Yeah, I can tell you're Hawaiian, but I mean, it's not too prevalent, it's
Yeah.
yeah.
In my head, I sound like you guys. It's just English, but apparently it's not. So it's just funny.
It seems like even accents, like Southern accents, are just. I saw a video about it. It was like they're just different draws of English accents of where they came from before they were in America, and like different Southern accents. And I'm like, what? Oh my God, it makes sense. That's crazy. So
Really?
ain't that?
Bobby's here.
My,
I don't know. I go to the South and I whip out Google Translate.
Yeah.
I'm also from
Yeah, so I used to frequently go down to Mississippi because we have the Southern Gaming Summit there at the Coliseum there. And we used to stay at the Hard Rock. They have a pool upstairs, and they have a really nice spread over there. It's pretty cool. But yeah, I spent a lot of time in Mississippi. I had to do a drive back from there. I will never do it again. So like a typical kid, you're all excited on your first, the first day you're driving back. By the end of it, it's like, damn it, I want to just park this truck and jump on a plane.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard it's pretty humid down there, down Mississippi.
Yeah.
Stu,
Go ahead.
Cajun is a totally different language. Cajun is not English.
I can't. It's crazy though, it's just all different languages and, let alone accents.
Yeah.
It's nuts how we all communicate. But technology makes it doable,
Oh yeah.
It's nuts.
Yeah, my neighbors are Cajun, and whenever they're talking to us, perfectly understandable. But if they start talking to each other, it's
Yeah.
Unintelligible.
Going 90 miles an hour too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I can't. So
For
Fuego.
For those of you in the, I'm
Go
sorry,
ahead.
just real
Go
fast.
ahead, Bob.
For
Go
those
ahead.
of you
Go
in the
ahead.
chat, man, go ahead and click on the link and jump in when you guys want to jump in.
I know. Let me add another one just in case they lost it.
I mean,
I was just gonna
people
ask-
will hop in if they want to, Baba.
They'll
It's all up
jump
to
in.
them.
They'll jump in.
Yeah.
Glad to have the OGs here. Now I was gonna say I see you added a few more things there. Well, how's your test bench going, man? Mine's gonna look like nothing compared to yours. Look at that thing.
Yeah, well, probably the biggest thing I've seen. You could probably barely make it out in the corner there. I've had it since December, and I finally hung my kicker banner. You see the
Beautiful.
color of it there?
Oh, top left, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 foot by 6 foot. So I've got a whole other wall over there, and so that's where the kicker banner's at. And then the red thing that you see right there, that's an old snowboard of mine. So I'm making an amp rack out of it for some of my old amps. So that's sort of the next thing that I'll put in. I changed some of the stuff out up top. I think I'm going with different amps in my Forerunner. So right there's my JP95, and so I think I'm going to take the JP95, bridge it to these, that'll present a 2-ohm load, those subs, and then I've got the kicker KM88 coax marine speakers here.
How you like those?
Now, Fuego, you gotta wait for the ST to come out.
They are
37
loud.
volt tweeters.
Wow.
No,
You put 150 watts RMS to each of them, and they are just, they're made for a marine application.
Yeah.
The sensitivity on them is through the roof.
Mm-hmm.
They are, you got to tame them down a bit. They're a bit much for a 13 by 12 foot room.
Yeah.
So it's loud.
Sounds like something I need.
And the other boxes here, these are 6.5-inch coaxes. They're Image Dynamics, old school.
Nice.
Yeah,
Coming along over there, man. I'm just waiting for the videos, man. I'm sharing.
Yeah, the test bench is all set up. You can I just lean out. If you look right there underneath the test bench, those are all the load resistors. For resistive testing, you can see, and then up top is where I land the wires when I test the amps. So I just took the output channels up here to barrier strips, and then you can see the braking resistors here, and I got little tiny ones under here. So
that's beautiful.
Yeah, that's all set up.
Yeah, and anything that's going in like a basically open air environment has to be real aggressive sounding.
Right, because you got nothing helping you.
Yeah.
Damn. That's awesome, El Fuego, man. You're going to be a legit amp tester. Now, how many amps do you got lined up ready to go? He's thinking. He's like,
I think I've got probably 40.
Woo! All right, you're good to start.
Maybe
I started
more.
with 20. You got to have them ready to fire.
I've told myself now, Andy, that I am to buy one, I sell one.
That's how it starts out. That's how it starts. Like, oh yeah, I'm buy it, test it, sell it, and then you never sell it.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is I'm not buying another one until I sell one. That's my new rule. Because I have so many. It's at some point it took me years to realize this. At some point I figured out that I'd have to buy a whole fleet of cars if I was ever going to use these amplifiers, which I can't afford. So I'm never going to use them all. So.
I feel like we all run into that problem.
You can just get something like a Suburban and make the ultimate Franken system with everything in there.
Yes, all of the amplifiers.
Just shoved in wherever it fits.
I got to get rid of some, for sure.
Hey, we get a lot of likes on Facebook. Just making a meme or a little video on TikTok. Viral. Telling you. That's awesome.
And
Bubba.
you could wall off the car and reinforce it with all of the amplifiers. Just use the heat sinks as structural braces.
Blake already has this planned out. He's ready.
Oh, yeah. Right. Last night, John K said, like, I could do some, like, playing around with DSP, and then that set me off at, like, 15 minutes later. I had a full plan for, like, a small bookshelf speaker he could make real cheap.
Yeah. I can't. I was going to ask, sorry, I'm choking on vape or something. Baba, how's your truck build going? I know you want more. Have you gotten more since we've spoken about it?
No, I have not. I finally realized that I have more than enough what I have, but what I want to do is get better subs.
Okay.
It turns out I'm deaf, and everybody's telling me, I'm probably bumping 132, 135 steady, but
Yeah.
to me, I don't know what it is. It's like I want it to kick my teeth in. It's
Yeah.
not loud enough. I know it's an unrealistic expectation. I could do door pods. I could get more speakers in there. I got the power to basically, double up on everything. But to what end?
Right.
It's like I'm chasing something that really needn't be chased. I have more than sufficient system. It sounds really good. It's actually loud. Because when I, start to bump it, people are like, whoa, 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 turn that down. What are you trying to do? And it's like, this is nothing, man. I know guys that got stuff 2-3 times as loud. It's like, well, what is the purpose? To what end are you bumping that loud for?
Yeah. It's so they can hear it also,
Yeah.
So basically, I mellowed out, and I don't really. Usually, when I'm on my way to work, there's a large industrial area that I can drive through. So that's the only place I would really bump with windows down. I don't want to advertise.
Yeah.
I don't want to draw attention to myself, and then somebody follow me home, and then one day, if I'm not parked in the garage and I leave it out in my driveway, and somebody hops the fence and I don't hear my alarm, and then there you go. Because they won't steal just the car equipment; they'll steal the car.
Damn.
That's what these guys do. They steal the whole car. They'll come by with a tow truck. They'll hook up your whole car, and alarm going off and on. They'll just drive off.
That's scary,
crazy.
man. I am not moving to Vegas. Well, wasn't planned, but
Basically, the West Coast in general. I mean, it's really bad out this way.
wow. I mean, I got cameras like Fort Knox here, but for no reason. The neighborhood I live in is pretty laid back, and I have neighbors that are, they're older, so they're kind of watching, but at night not so much.
Yeah.
But it's just the type of area is not bad. But if you go 30 miles towards Pittsburgh, like in Pittsburgh, Monroeville, Duquesne area, that's a different story. Man, I believe it. That's why you see it on Facebook. They're like, I ain't putting decals on my car because then they're gonna break into my car. And here I'm a walking billboard with stickers. And I'm just like, yeah. But I'm lucky enough, I guess, to live in a decent area. I've only had someone go into my car, but it was parked at Kevin Hunter's. It wasn't even parked in my house. But I mean, hey, at least it was just the amps, right? It wasn't the whole car. That's crazy, Baba. That's crazy.
I'm not saying it happens. I'm actually in a pretty nice neighborhood, but still, nothing is for certain. And why make yourself a target? I got flood lamps with sensors on it. I got cameras. I got the whole shebang. But
Right.
if somebody just literally, if the perimeter alarm somehow doesn't go off, if the gate opens and somebody comes in there with a tow truck, they're in a 50 grand truck. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a little different story. Yeah. Damn. So, your truck. I know you use the back seats, kids. So, what other systems have you had that, kind of knocked your chest back a little bit?
I myself, this is the first proper system I've owned. Other stuff I had and other vehicles I bought, they were basically whatever was in it at the time. I mean, my stereo experience was taking bookshelf speakers and putting it in a 70 Thunderbird.
Same.
You know what I mean? I never really did the full-blown installation. So, I have the working knowledge. It's just that I have very large hands. I'm a big guy. I don't have the dexterity, and I don't have the patience. If I start on a project and I, come across something that I get stumped with, I'll just say, screw it.
Yeah. Patience is key on that.
Yeah.
So the thing is, I have a preference of, just get a pro to do it, one and done, and then bam, I got what I want.
Yeah.
But I understand the hobby is to actually do it and experience it and experiment with equipment and, build working knowledge. I have the working knowledge. It's just I don't have the matching hands required to accomplish doing the build.
And I know what you're saying, and the dexterity and the patience, everything you're saying. And trust me, man, we're all pulling our hair out with this stuff sometimes. It's just, you're not alone, man. But that's crazy to hear, and I'm glad that you're friends with us. You're in good hands, and I started out like that too, man. Throwing Sony shelf speakers in the back of my car, tapping it up with the 6x9s, and hey, It made some extra bass, let me tell you.
I tell you this about Bob's build. He's got a couple things in there that just make me drool. Number one is the audio control amps. I just love those amps. And then his front stage with the audio frog.
Yeah.
He's got the GB60s. And then what else you have, Bob? Is the GB25s and the GB10s?
Yes. So I have the full front three-way, and then I have the GS62s for rear fill. Then I got the 4 Alpine 8-inch R2s that I'm not happy with because I have one sub that's not performing, and I just got to commit the time. And basically, I'm going to have it arm-made, turn it back and get a replacement, and then hopefully things will mellow out. I really don't need more than what I have, but it's just you want more. You always want more. You know, people warned me about getting the sickness.
Yeah.
So, you know, of the hobby, you want to keep going more. And then, you know, I got dubs saying blow through. Like, I can't do that in my daily.
I still use it as a truck. Listen.
Yeah.
Hey, man.
I bought the bed. I want all 8 feet.
Yeah. He doesn't need he doesn't work at DD anymore, but like he used to have 4 9915s and 2 Z2B or 2 Z2Cs in his daily, which is like a 30,000 watt system in his daily, walled off.
Hey, you know, you can get away with stuff depending your situation as a daily. You know.
Oh yeah.
I drove. That's why, like, soon as I didn't need the Eclipse as a daily anymore, really, that's whenever I started planning. Okay, let's take up the rest of this car with a box, because we don't need the back seat.
That's my exact plan as soon as I get space and money for a second car.
Nice.
So Jeff, my rear view mirror is hanging on for dear life. So the way the 8 inches, you know, they're forward facing. So the way it passes up between the passenger and driver's seat, I think the reflection and refraction that goes through its sound waves is smacking the shit out of my windshield. Not so much to make the windshield bow like Scotch truck, but enough so where, you know, the acoustic energy is unloading on the glass somehow, where it's making the damn rearview mirror shake to hell.
Yeah. I know what you're saying. I feel with you have the Ford truck, right? Ford?
Chevy. 2018
and
Silverado.
That's a 4-door. That's a big boy. But I mean, I feel like trucks. It depends of each manufacturer, each level of like how strong is it for what we do with bass. So and it depends what you're playing too. And like you said, with the firing orientation, you might be vibrating things rather than making things actually loud too, where you could maybe downfire those subs. Or I know you had them up firing before, right?
No, I had down firing, and what's interesting is the 2 12-inch. I started with comp RTs, of which you have in your possession now.
Yes.
I then went to comp Rs, so I have an older box with the comp R store in them. I'm hoping it's narrow enough to fit in my Toyota truck, because I'm going to just recycle it. If it doesn't, you know, I didn't do the measurements or whatnot, but I was going to just slap it in there and make it work.
Right.
So now I have
away.
Yeah.
Call it a port.
So that was a sealed down firing for 2 12-inch, and you know, it's a poorly designed sub. It didn't have proper clearance, so that's why that one speaker got messed up, Andy, like you made in that other video.
Yeah,
because it was touching the floor, because it wasn't properly angled and spaced enough to allow clearance, you know, for X-Max when it's playing. So at some point it was touching the rug, and then that's what led to that.
I had the same problem in my dad's when he had a system in his car 2 years ago with the Kia Sorento. It was just a 12, and I had it literally, and it was just close enough, but it was rubbing on that the highest arc of the sub on the one side just a little bit, and it was kind of bothering me. But I mean, he ran it like that for a while, but I could tell from yours, I'm like, This was definitely ran way too close to whatever it was hitting. It was just smacking off of it. And
it was literally laying part of part of both subs was apparently touching. I thought it was lifted enough where there was enough clearance.
Yeah.
So what I did is I got some hard cardboard and I made some basic cheapy risers so that there was proper clearance. And when I did that, the bass basically doubled because the refraction and the reflection off the floor. Holy crap! I mean, it felt like somebody's punching you literally in your kidneys.
Mm-hmm.
And I had more wind and more, electrical energy, acoustical energy with the 12s downfiring than the current 4 8-inch I have now, which is just mind blowing.
Okay, so you went to the 4 8s. What subs are you running again?
Alpine type bars.
Alpine type.
Baba, the thing is, like, you side graded in terms of cone area, and 8s are inherently less efficient than 12s.
Right.
So generally about 3 dB less efficient. So you're really at parity with 4 8s on 1600 is about at parity with 2 12s on 800. The big thing is that you're ported now, so should be getting deeper response, but the downfire helps load off the floor a lot better.
Yeah, you're using the vehicle and the vehicle's resonance. Yeah. I like downfiring. I mean, you do see it in the trucks. It's the new thing, 4 8s lined up, or 6 of them, but usually 4, like how you have now, Bob. And you said Alpine type Rs?
R2s.
R2. So those are the reference? I get not a reference, but they're the shallow ones, right? Is that what they are?
No, it's the type Alpine type R. Like
it's the latest type Rs.
R2s. Yeah. Is that what they're? Oh, I didn't even know they had a new Alpine type R.
It's the new version.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So what's that? 600? No, that's less than probably 450 or 500 RMS.
350 watt RMS per.
350. So probably an 1.5 inch coil, give or take. I mean, right? Yeah, because you don't have those loading factors like Blake was saying. But with trucks, they're weird. I bet you're probably louder now with both windows down than you were with the downfiring, but you might have been louder, sealed up on the one side with the downfiring on the meter. And like you said, you're sacrificing cone area, motor force, power, all these factors. And with more motor force, more power, in most cases, you're going to sound more musical, punchier, maybe get down lower, in layman's terms.
You know what I'm really digging on right now is the L17. That L17 in a downfiring. That's what I'm going to go with in my wife's Subaru Forester.
That's what they're really for,
Yeah.
Sleek, out of the way box.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, Bob, like what you're looking for is really, like that's what the supercharging option at DD is for. Where it's just like those insanely fast transients.
Right, and that's... I used to say transients, I used to say box rise in the beginning, and people used to chew my butt for it, you don't know what you're talking about. It's like, listen, I kind of did, I just didn't know enough, but I knew what I was talking about. It just transients and just how, in a way, how the woofer replicates the sound, and just sloppy or not,
Yeah. Yeah, and that's where, like, my 1112s, the motor on them can't be supercharged, which I'm sad about, but it's still got the best sounding bass that I've heard out of anything other than a sealed box. Because there's a track, Time Traveler by Knower, that, like, right at the start, it's kind of ramping up, and it's got these bass hits that, with a good system, by the time it's like you don't realize that the bass is hitting until after it did. It's just like a split second kind of thing.
A little bit of latency, just a little.
Yeah. And
that's Go ahead.
Yeah, it's just doing like, I think it's genuinely like 1/10 of a second or less. Just like a super fast, not even a kick drum, just sine wave bass that just goes.
Wow.
And I mean, a lot of those speakers that I've heard can't really do that song justice.
That quad box is underestimated for what it is. I guess you could say transients, or just the quality of what it's playing is, man, it's there for 412s. You ain't going to hear that out of some of the other guys, the Sundowns or Scars or whatever, in the same kind of, I don't know, the way they did it, they did it in a very good way. It sounds good.
Yeah, kicker subs tend to sound pretty solid.
So here's something I've been kicking around, giving it some thought. So the Fox box I have has the pre-cutouts. Should I want to go to square subs? So
that's what I was just thinking.
With me and Hi-Fi, I mean, we were talking for a while, and he kept trying to tell me, you know, best bang for the buck, best performance, L7S.
Yep.
You know, I kept looking at the Qs, and he's like, no, you know, because MB keeps plugging on the Qs, and he said, no, you're not going to get an improvement in performance at louder volumes. He was saying that, you know, the L7Ss are the best performing ones. But the tuner, you know, Jack Ruiz, Yakiel with audio systems, convinced me, you know, looking at the fields, you know, small field parameters, it was a perfect match to my box and existing amps that was running.
Nice.
So basically, it was an upsell because he's an Alpine dealer. You know, he could get me the other stuff. They're not a direct kicker dealer because I was trying to tell him I wanted the L7Ss.
That's what I thought you were going to do. That's why I was like, wait, Alpine Type Rs, right? I'm missing something.
he talked me out of it, saying that, you know, those have been known to be defective over a quick period of time, just like how the Comp RTs were. He said he'd had a lot of customers come in and swap out to something different. So, you know, it's marketing. He bullshitted me, basically.
Yeah, don't mention this guy's name or shop.
No.
But you know what? That's part of being a salesman, unfortunately. And it's half truth. And, you know, I love Alpine Type Rs. I love kickers. I love, you know, it's all. I look at them in the same category. I really do, and it's a shame the way he said it, but it is what it is.
Do me a favor and edit out that part of the show. I keep forgetting you're streaming on YouTube. I'm thinking.
Oh, you're good. No one's gonna see this. 3 hours later.
Andy's Extras has 18 subscribers.
Yeah, this is going viral. That's why I like it on the second channel, so we can just kind of you know.
Yeah, because I remember when you were saying that, like, yeah, those Type Rs, they're really great subs. They're not built to be abused, though. So that's where I've been saying, like, Kicker L7S, B2 Rampage 8, Sundown SA, DD 1108, or if they were in stock 608. Like, those are subs that are built to handle abuse.
I feel like the older Type Rs were better. The gray with the red in the middle, not the old ones, like the older ones that still had the weird surround. Those were the best ones, in my opinion.
The current ones still have the hammer surround.
Yeah, but they're like a black face, and I don't know, just from people's, you know, opinions, that's what I'm hearing. I built a box for them and for 212s, and I was like, it's not bad, but I might have just been spoiled from other bass, you know, too.
Yeah.
But like you said, I don't know, though. The abuse maybe cosmetically. I know their cones aren't very strong, and, you know, their motors, basket covers on the back can break and stuff, and they're little. I've had issues with their push terminals. I had to like glue and freaking solder shit together just to hold the terminals together. I'm like, are you kidding me? This thing just broke off, and I just got to like solder connections. Otherwise, the coils are the same size closely, from at least my experience from my buddy Seth that recones the kickers for me. He threw in a Alpine Type R coil for an L7, but it wasn't an S, but it was an L7 2011. Same thing, really. So it's not like you got bad stuff, Baba. You know what I mean? You know.
Yeah, I don't think that the Type Rs are correct for your application, but yeah, all the stuff you have is great. I think the big thing is that the money could have been better allocated.
How much were the Type
Agreed.
Rs? How much were the Type Rs?
I think it was $230 each.
What?
Yeah.
Those are even more expensive than the kickers. That's
well, here's
crazy.
the kick in the head. The kickers I could have got for $5. I think it's a
Wow.
$1.20 for an L7S 8-inch right now. If I'm not mistaken.
Looking at the
Crutchfield's usually cheaper. I know on the
Yeah.
website they're $200, but they might be cheaper on
the
Crutchfield.
website they're 200. That's what I was looking at.
And Bob, I think you have all the power you need to run those too. I mean,
Oh yeah,
that's audio
definitely.
control 1.800. I mean, I've seen them dynoed out at close to 1,000 watts.
Both of my birth sheets are like almost 900. So I think I can safely get away with 1800. So that's 450 watts RMS per sub. So the more and more I think about it, the L7S might be a good application. But I didn't want to have to alter the box. I didn't want to have to cut it. I didn't want to, I still wanted to have the flexibility of using different kind of rounds. Because once you go square, you're
That's
limited to the kicker family of whatever can fit in your box.
There's always MTX.
And only if they would make an 8-inch L7X for you, man. You know, wouldn't that be cool?
Well, Ernie did hint, and he said, it is a family
Ernie
of
slipped?
subs.
What?
No, he didn't. What he basically said was, "Hey, you never know. It's a family of subs."
It's a family. It's a big family. I am not lying to you guys. It is a big family. It's a big family.
Yeah,
It's a big family with big amps that nobody wants to admit either. So
Yep.
I'll leave it at that.
Oh, I know. When I went
did
down
not-
there, they were telling me some stuff. I'm like, really? Oh, okay. And it was like from Steve himself. I'm like, oh, okay. That's great. They're gonna love it. They're gonna love it. Everyone's gonna love it. They're gonna love that. They're gonna love that. I'm like, man, this is crazy. But
We know
Yeah.
you're under NDA, but other sources have said there's another war coming. I know you can't acknowledge that. I've heard from other industry folk that
I did
so
not
they're
see
so
anything.
they're slipping. So they're slipping.
Also,
outside of
I
kicker,
didn't
though.
see anything there that was like a new kicker amplifier that was like however many watts. Like all I saw was like KXA, CXA amps, and a bunch of the marine stuff.
Right.
And
Yeah,
the-
they're
the
gonna
one
keep a
thing
lot
that-
of stuff. Yeah, under wraps.
The one name that
Especially
I did
since
hear-
I wasn't able to sign an NDA.
Yeah.
So there's the Warhorse 10K. That's part of the L7X family. And this is what I heard. I don't know if it's true or not. But they floated the name of the War Pony for the 5K.
War Pony. That's news to me. And yeah,
It's no longer on the board. 5K is going to be something else.
that's great. I mean, you would think they bring back the Solo X, they bring back the Warhorse. I mean, come on. Let's just be real, I mean, what else would you call it? The big one.
You want to capture the glory, and you think about those subs. They're 2,500. They're wanting 2,500 watts apiece.
Yeah. Well, you just have to wire up a CXA 1800 to each coil.
Yep, literally. Yeah.
They will never come out with another amplifier larger than the 1800. Just going to make it so that you can wire multiple of them together.
Yes. I know they used to have strappable amps. The older KX were strappable. That would be nice too,
Yeah, most of the Midzenheiser half bridge, but the sub amps are almost all full bridge.
Yeah, I don't know if the KX400 is full bridge or not. Do you know? I know the 360 is half, AB.
Yeah, I don't know specifically, but if you can bridge the channels down, then it's half bridge on like a 4-channel. As far as I know, all of the monoblocks they have are full bridge.
Yeah.
Which, for the record, there is nothing wrong with full bridge amps.
Nope.
The
just
only
Terra
reason why
amps.
people don't like the only reason why people don't like full bridge amps is because the only amplifiers that marketed themselves as full bridge did that because they had nothing else going for them.
Right. I can't. That's the thing where it's just misunderstanding of products, and just people talking, and that's the bad side of the internet. But we're here to enlighten people. Listen, full bridge tear amp, bad, but it can be good, but bad. I mean, you gotta think about it. You're only paying how many dollars for how much watts? Like, you're telling me
something's gonna give. I mean, and the thing is, like, I can understand going for a really cheap amp, like super cheap garbage amplifier for if you're just running like stock electrical or whatever, like that. I don't remember the one, but it's like what Justin has, the like 600 watt for $50.
Yeah.
That he uses off of Amazon, like that one.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit of a unicorn, entry level pricing.
Oh yeah, and like that one, I totally understand it. I do not understand why you would want to buy a 12,000 watt amplifier for $1,000 because you're gonna have to spend $3,000 anyways just to plug it in.
Yep. Wait, who wanted to do that, or are you just talking in general?
Just in general.
Oh, right. Because, I mean, the tear amps with the full bridge design, you don't need, quote, as much as electrical as you would for a cheaply made amplifier, half bridge from Korea or whatever, we'll say Shark or Audio Pipe, something that's just not very good and takes a lot of power. And then you're talking 12,000 watts or whatever. Right.
Yeah.
And it's just the day and age that we're in, people want less for more, just like those projectors. They say they're 1080p and it's putting out 480, man, but it's $40.
Up to 4K signal.
Yes, it'll take it all, but it won't give you anything back. That's how it is.
Yeah, I was just saying, like, in general, if you're running a 12,000 watt amplifier, you're going to want like $3,000 in electrical upgrades, regardless of which amp it is.
Right.
Regardless of how efficient it is, because you have to supply that current.
Right.
And so saving an extra $1,000 on an amplifier that isn't made well just doesn't make sense to me.
And that was the other reason why I was hesitant to upgrade to a Gately box, just because the subs that would go in there. I know you're telling me I needn't get perfect matching power to utilize max RMS rating or whatever the subs are. You can certainly underpower. There's no real need to. I understand that, but you feel like you're leaving performance on the table. You have something capable of doing something. Why not have matching power to it? But in my case, that would result in massive reworking of the amp rack layout, repositioning the DSP under the seat. I mean, it'll cascade into a massive job. Yep. Whereas if I could just source a better matching pair of subs, or
right, even matching RMS, it can even shortchange quote performance, because of just how one, the amplifier is built, two, in real power situations, I got quote 3600 RMS, and I can get all 3600 RMS. Those amps do 18 at 2 ohms. But I'm only seeing 1,800 watts at maybe 2,000 on that quad box, and I'm kind of shortchanging myself because I'm at 3,600 RMS. Yet I'm not even clamping 2,400 RMS. But could it take it? Maybe, sure. But then if I try playing lower frequencies and I have that bigger amplifier, then you're yeeting the subwoofer. You need to set your crossovers, and I think crossovers can be king, especially when you're overpowering something, because then you can just top the ends off and play what you want and get all the power you need.
Yeah, well, and that's where it's one of those where most reputable companies, where they rate the RMS, is not what the maximum the subs can take. It's where you're not going to ever have any issues with that sub. So, like, most Kicker, Sundown, DC, DD, Rockford, a lot of these, you can throw like 1.5 to 2 times rated power if you know what you're doing and be perfectly fine.
everything within reason. Heat, time, and, frequencies you're playing too,
Yeah, because, like...
people setting their games right.
Clip all knobs to the right.
Yeah.
Making sure you don't have your bass knob up, right?
Yeah.
Get all that stuff, where it needs to be when you're setting the game. That way you're not gonna...
Sorry, had to.
Yeah. Real example, like the DD SW8, small 8-inch sub, 55-ounce motor structure, 2-inch coil. It's like $99 retail. Rated for 300 RMS, and I'd maybe put like 450, maybe 500 on it for like recommending to a customer.
Right.
But I've personally thrown like a 1600 watt per channel, or rated at 1200 watt per channel, Crown XTI 4002 at one of those at full tilt, like bringing the amp to clipping, sending over 1,000 watts to it. But it was dynamic music. I wasn't just
give
playing
Bobby the
straight
show.
test tones through it. So the amp, the sub did just fine.
And that's experience talking, of just running the equipment how you should. I just want more power than... I thought the two CX1800s would be perfect, which it kind of is. Bye, Bobby. Thanks for jumping in. But it's just like when I'm like really getting on it, I got to be careful that I'm not clipping. And those CX amps are pretty good with the clipping, but it's still just a lot of power close to that RMS rating, which is just, their thermal kind of ideal range, like you were saying. But it's like if I'm playing like, maybe DJ Rusticals where it ain't giving no breaks and I'm clipping a little bit too heavy, my electrical starts sagging. So then when my electrical starts sagging, I'm clipping earlier, so then I'm clipping harder, and I'm not, and I'm not sounding as loud, so then I'm turning it up, and that's what happens to everybody. And I never had that problem with the CX1800s because before I ran them at 1 ohm, and I had them only on 212s. So I never really got into that clip ever, and I could just kind of go. I'd be bottoming out the speakers beforehand, before I'm making them hot. So I'm like, man, I kind of missed that. I need more power, and it's just, you could throw a KXA 2400 on it, but I feel like you got to be careful with that. You might get a little bit more power, but those KXA 2400s, they pull some power and they clip, man. They clip. Everything clips. Everything clips, and it's like you said, you got to have your electrical to be able to keep up with that. I don't know. I wish I just had a 10,000 watt amplifier for every car, and then just play with the bass knob. And that's all I need.
Warhorse in every car.
Yes.
Every car can fit a Warhorse.
I know. People kept saying, why don't you get a Warhorse for? I'm like, I don't even know where to put it. It'd have to sit on top of the box, and like, where else would it go? Block the window, maybe.
The sub.
Yeah, you're already sitting in that car like this, like it ain't going behind the seats, man. Yeah, put on the roof with the plexi.
I got to see some of those today, and
DJ Rusticals, I love Chris. I've talked to him for hours on the phone, actually. Really cool guy. His older music, I wouldn't say he doesn't clip, but just isn't clean sounding. It's not like it's a clip signal, but I don't know what his recording is at. If it's at 0, it's probably negative, like it should, but it's kind of choppy. It might not be the greatest, but his new stuff's good. His new stuff's
Stu
good.
has the perfect answer. Ratchet strap it to the roof.
Right, that's what I'll say with a plexi right on top. Yep, we'll just get rid of the roof, and it'll just be Warhorse amp.
Yeah, just
with
like
plexi.
Pull it down.
Oh man, I wish there was a guy local around me selling it for $700, but it's like, man, that's $700, and I don't know what the hell I'm gonna do with it. Like, it's just gonna sit for a while until where am I gonna put it?
On the wall and gaze longingly.
Literally, I'd be buying a stud finder for that thing. There's no way that's just going in the drywall.
Decent chunk of neodymium works pretty well.
Yeah. Can't.
I've got pretty easy access to random chunks of neodymium, though.
Right, that's the perks of
just like in random places. Like I remember taking apart amps. I was like, the screwdriver, it's not holding on to the screw well enough, it's like getting caught in between the it's getting caught in between the caps and whatever, it's not pulling out. So just like found a random Neo tweeter motor, just ran the screwdriver along it a few times. Then I could pick up like 30 screws at once.
Oh yeah, it's the best kind of magnet, man. Best kind.
If I could, I just wanted to call out that, being on this side of it, I don't have the camera up, but essentially I'm a streamer now. I don't know how in the heck you're able to keep up with the chat, Andy. This chat is going pretty slow, and it's like, I can't believe how much stuff we missed. I have no clue how you do it.
It's easier when you're by yourself, because then you don't have to like have a conversation. Like, I'm struggling right now. I'm trying to like listen to you guys and talk to you.
Everybody,
yeah. That's why I told Scott, because he was like not even reading any of the comments. I was like, give me access so I can throw up a couple of the comments. So we take turns, but just to help, because I'm like, man, these people, they got some questions, man. But yeah, it's not easy, but I know your conversations. I can kind of feel, okay, they're side jagging. Let's just scroll down a little bit. Okay, cool, we're good. All right, we're back. It's fun, man. It's not like it's easy, but it is because of what I'm doing. I'm talking about car audio and shoot, man. It's just cool to do it.
I know it's tough because when Fuego's on streams and everybody's trying to get his attention and talk to him, he's paying it. We can see him looking at the other streamers, and it's like, Fuego, we're trying to get your attention. So, Fuego, since we have you and your attention, can you share with us what Deviant sent to you? He sent you a GIF, and he keeps trying to ask you to show it. Was it something funny, or was it actually audio related, or was he just trying to be funny?
He's trying to be funny. I didn't get anything from him.
Aw, lying to us.
He's pulling a Ridiculous, man.
He kept saying he was going to get me a housewarming present, and I moved into my new house in February.
Wait, you're saying that Deviant was trying to be funny?
No.
I never heard of that ever happen.
No.
Not him.
That guy? Usually it's 25, not Deviant. No.
Oh man, Deviant, he's always on the straight and narrow. Couldn't imagine that guy ever trying to waste somebody's time.
I swear, I wouldn't have been surprised if I would have seen him as Slamology, man. I was waiting, but no show. It's okay. There's always next year.
What's funny is I'm actually in the YouTube chat in StreamYard. The YouTube stream is X number of seconds behind. Like I just saw Fuego had the full screen when I was asking him about what Deviant said.
It's a good 8 to 10 second delay, and I can even set it to go farther back and actually quicker.
Oh, you set that.
Well, yeah, you can actually set it on your YouTube. Yep. I just leave it as normal, like low latency or not low, I forget, just average, whatever it comes stock, because, you don't want a huge delay, because I got people commenting questions, and I don't want to be 2 minutes ahead of you. Meanwhile, it's taking a while to get to your comment anyway. So, I don't know. Yeah.
How long does it take for the chat to be uploaded to the stream? Because I noticed if you go and watch a stream immediately, the chat's not there yet.
Good 24 hours. Good 24 hours, maybe longer.
Huh.
It's annoying. I know, because I usually rewatch my show like afterwards. I'll just listen to it when I'm doing stuff, and whatever. That's just what I do. I re-listen to it. Maybe not the whole way through sometimes, but most of the way, as long as I don't have anything planned. But right, I can't see the live chat, and then there's some times where I see comments where I need to go back and look at the live chat, and I have to wait a day or two. And then I'm like, okay, fast forward. Okay, there it is. That was the question I missed or whatever.
The reason why I mostly revisit the streams is at the end. I want to see what the video was for the caboose. So I'm like, okay. No, because Deviant kept saying, I got the caboose because Andy acknowledged me last. And I'm like, no, you bastard. I put it up, and then sure enough, exactly what he said was true. It was like, okay, that's the rule. Okay, the agreed upon rule is whoever is the last person acknowledged, they're the caboose.
That's why I've been trying to keep it like that. And I know that they've been coming in, like, I'd be calling it too early. I'll be like, oh yeah, Deviant got it. And then I would see like Dave, you, and Cornut, boom, 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 boom. I'm like, I gotta wait a couple seconds. Because
I think it's the payment processing, there's a delay in it. Like sometimes when I do it, it's instantaneous. Other times it sits there 5 to 7 seconds. So everybody's watching the timer. We're trying to do it, but then we know you're going to stall a little bit at the end. So it's a guessing game. You know, when do you hit the buy button or the send button, wherever the hell it is. But it's just funny.
Yeah. It's funny how it's become a thing, man. You guys are awesome. One, and just two, it is.
Cornut, man. That's all Cornut, bro.
Good old Caboose, man. He was missing tonight. Where was he? You know, I know we have lives outside of YouTube, you know.
I think he got back from the air show already. He was up in Reno. So I think he's back already.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
He was posting videos from Reno on an air show.
Yeah, he's all into the Air Force stuff, you know, working on airplanes, man. That's insane. And then, you know,
and he's a certified pilot. He can drive by instrument.
Really?
That's cool.
Wow. That's one thing I've always wanted to be able to do is fly a plane, you know.
He's got the full-on simulator, flight simulator, monitors and the controllers and holy crap! Yeah, you gotta. I don't know if we were having a private chat or what, but he showed me some stuff. Holy moly!
Yeah,
that boy's got the setup.
Well, that kicker Cornut boombox he probably just sneezed and it just magically appeared. You know? Yeah, I'm like, oh my god, that's beautiful. Everything's nice.
You guys got talent for days and all sorts of things. Very impressive.
He shared that as he was building it. Me and him were corresponding and chatting for the longest time. He's like, don't say anything yet. You gotta wait till Andy gets it. It's going to be a surprise. He knows it's coming, but don't say nothing. Don't share any pictures.
Yeah. Yeah, he showed me like very little in the beginning, and because he was telling me about it, and I was like, man, that's awesome, but like, why? You know, and I was like, man, I'm the kind of guy, like, a lot of people blow smoke up your skirt, you know, so I'm like, if it comes, it comes. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And then he was getting closer towards it and posted on Instagram. I'm like, oh, he actually made it. This thing's actually real. This is actually mine. Dude, that's awesome. Dude, that's the coolest thing. Like, I always wanted to make something like that. I just never had the time or really the skills to make it look that clean. You know, I've built a boombox, but come on, that's simple compared to what he did. Just the power supply, ran and everything. You know, the way he did it, it was just awesome stuff, man. You know, it's cool.
I was trying to convince him to do a build vlog. He was taking pictures as he was going through it, but bro, make a build vlog. Right. I don't know what he did, but I mean, he may have some clips here and there, but
yeah, I think he just kind of has a little bit of description, because I remember he posted that on Toyd's forum, and then I think he has something else. Yep. I mean, that's the thing though, when you're building that kind of stuff, like, you're just doing it, you know what I mean, and then you're taking pictures and whatever. I mean, it's better than nothing, you know. It's better than nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, I got to the end of building my bookshelf speakers and then realized, I didn't have as many pictures of the, like, being made in process as I thought I did.
Right, because you're just excited about doing whatever you're doing, you know.
Yeah.
I'm glad I took like
all of the testing was done in DD's or all of the tuning was done in DD's R&D area. Didn't want to show off too much stuff.
Right. I do simple stuff compared to some of you guys, but there's a lot that I just don't film, and it's just like, man, I can film this, but it's like not, you know how YouTube is. It's like, I don't want to give you boring stuff. That's why I tried to start doing the shorts, because I'm like, man, I'm doing these lives twice a week, and there's some like kind of good content in there that's like video worthy. I'm like, someone will find it, and you know, I'm the kind of guy, I watch shorts.
It's entertaining.
Right. I watch shorts. I don't watch the whole live of the, you know, whatever show of NFL, you know. I see little bits and clips, and then I'll maybe go watch the live, you know, some other time. But I like, you know, things to get to the point, too, you know.
The shorts, to me, when I see a short, you know, I might tap onto it because it's a minute or minute and a half long, right? But it may be somebody that I've never seen before, you know, so I get exposure to their content. And then I go to their site, I want to see more, and then you pick up a sub, you know?
Right. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like I want to grow more, but I don't want to grow just because of wanting to grow, you know.
Right.
And I feel like some YouTubers do that, and that's the point. That's the point.
Well,
But
you grow too much and Deviant will boot you from the
exactly.
chat.
Once I hit 3K, I'm gone, man. You already know. I'm gone.
Organic growth, Andy.
Exactly.
There, that's the
Exactly.
term, organic. Yep.
Yep.
Just as it builds, it builds. It's not like you're trying to promote and make it grow. It's just it'll go in the direction it goes.
Right. Exactly. And that's kind of just how I've always done things. And, you know, Kicker's helped out a lot with some things, and obviously you guys too. And it just, it works, man. You know, just being able to just do this stuff. It really, it's a blessing, man. Just compared to where I came from to where I am today, man, and just doing this thing. And it's nice that Kayla's able to hold down the kids, and while I do this stuff, man, I'm spoiled. You know, I got a man cave. I never thought I'd have a man cave. I have a man cave.
Well, and also being able to play with all of the gear that you've got now.
Right. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Come on. It's a win-win.
Oh yeah, I mean that's like definitely
I enjoy it.
my second favorite. My favorite part about being at DD is like all of the stuff I'm learning, and I can just ask Jessa questions. My second favorite part is all of the stuff I get for cheap.
Yeah. You can't beat the discounts. No.
Oh no, employee discount is nice.
Yeah. You got
Oh.
you got to have some kind of incentives, you know.
Hook it up with me. Hook me up. Make 4 11OH for me. Sign it. Get your boys in there. I'll wire you the money. You buy it.
So you can't
That's
even do
not
that.
gonna
You can't
happen.
even
I'm
do
not
that.
allowed to do that, Bob.
Yep. No. That's the
Not
whole
allowed
thing
to
about
undercut our dealers.
you can't resell it either. Technically, you can't resell it. But I mean, but they'll be like, hey Blake, what card did you throw those subs in? And you'd be like, yeah, I kind of lost those.
I got a close to a year ago. I got a.
I know
just
I've
one
had
of
people
our
ask me
sealed
that too. I'm
12-inch
like,
prefabs for my dorm system, and guy was giving me grief like, oh, so which car is that going in? You've already
Here
got
comes the
2
caboose.
12s.
the caboose is here.
Corona.
Sorry, caboose is
Yeah.
here. You're late, but you made it to the after show. we weren't talking about you at all, Cornut. Not at all.
His ears were ringing. That's what made him come.
Yep.
Like Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice.
Thanks for tuning in. Sorry, Blake. Continue. Sorry, I cut you off
I
there.
don't. Oh yeah, but just like I got that 12 for my apartment, and one of my coworkers was giving me grief about which car I'm throwing that in.
Yeah.
Which I'll say like that little sealed 12 like sounded so nice, blended perfectly with the cheap Dayton bookshelves I had at the time.
You know,
Yeah, he's cool
I
there.
sealed boxes are underrated.
It sounds so good.
Mm,
But
amen.
they're so much more expensive to get the same output.
right.
I
right.
don't have
Right.
the budget.
Less efficient, need just more. Right. But I feel like that roll off, and just again with like kind of like the transients, there's no latency, or not no latency, but less, because you got one less factor of a port.
Yeah.
You know, me and just learning how passive radiators and ports work, and how they're like kind of the same thing, you know, in a way. And it's like, oh well, maybe that's why
Or
that,
just a
you know,
speaker
not
made
yeah.
out of air.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. You know, back in the day when you were a kid, or whenever you first got into this, you see speaker move, you were like, oh, that's how a speaker works, because it's like whatever. And it's like there's so much more into it, and it's like when it's the loudest, it might be moving the least, you know, or you know, it's within reason. Obviously, if you're just giving it 5,000 watts, it's going to move full excursion, even at its best
You just
frequency.
need to put you need to stack 2 subs on top of each other, so that the one on top, like as a just on the cone, so
Yes.
it doesn't move at 5K.
Yes. Isobaric and reverse them. Fire each
No,
other.
just not isobaric, just straight weight on the cone.
So don't move.
That's how you get it to not move at 5K.
Yes. Oh man, car audio is fun, man. Really is. Just learning about it. I could just imagine you're young. You got your ears wet behind. But you got a lot to go, and you have like the best people to teach you and learn all that stuff, man.
Yeah, because
appreciate it.
Yeah, Jessa has been doing audio like twice as long as I've been alive. And he's heard everything under the sun.
Experience is priceless.
Having access to in-industry knowledge and people with that kind of, work repertoire. Holy crap, bro.
Yeah, and I can just ask him questions. Can just message him and be like, hey, so how does this work?
Yeah.
Are you still reading that book?
I can ask Jessa Langford questions. And like,
are you still reading that audio theory book that you shared with us?
Occasionally. Because Jessa, he's the Steve Irby of DD, basically. Founded it in '86, still runs it, still does a good chunk of the engineering work, and so also started out in PA. So
did I hear you say 86? Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah, he started out in '86 building studio monitors, and then in the mid to late '90s moved into car audio stuff.
That's crazy. It seems like everyone kind of started in the pro audio section and then moved up. Because that's just like how Kicker, they didn't make Kicker subwoofers until 86, 85?
Yeah.
Or, in 73, but how that is.
Yeah, the original Kicker box was early 80s.
Yep. Yeah, because I'm thinking of gold letters.
Yeah, the gold letters were, I think, 86.
Oh, hold them up. Yeah. Wait, Fuego. Show them.
Flex on them. Flex on them.
They're
he's got to point up. Yep.
They're in these boxes up there.
Oh, and you got them firing sideways and they got gold letters? Oh, El Fuego. It's your only fault tonight. It's your only fault.
Got them protected for life. I do have a question, though, about subwoofers and boxes.
Yeah.
Just, to see if a subwoofer is more applicable to a sealed versus ported. The formula that I remember was FS divided by QTS. Is that right?
QES.
QES, yes.
Which gives you the EBP, which I'm going to be honest is a worthless number nowadays.
Yeah. It gives you an idea, but
whether or not you think TS parameters model accurately is another discussion. But the rules of thumb that were created in the early 70s have nothing to do with modern drivers.
Yeah, I just don't have.
Is
it because they're so heavy? Is it because they're so heavy now?
Mass, motor force, power is being the biggest one. Just the fact that 40 hertz was not a thing in music in the 40s or in the 70s. I mean, 40 hertz was not a thing in music.
I don't think it was
movies.
In the 40s either. Yeah.
Yeah. But in the 70s, 40 hertz was not a thing, and nowadays, a lot of modern films will go down to even 10 hertz.
Yep. Thunder.
And so the expectations of what subs need to do is totally different. The content is different. The drivers are different. The applications are different. Everything is so different that those early rules of thumb have no value, really.
Wow.
In my opinion, at least.
See, I'm learning something here. I mean, it makes sense.
I even think that 90% of car subs, there's no real point modeling them in WinISD or whatever, because most modern car subs, especially the ones that are more SPL oriented, are a progressive suspension design.
And you can't see a graph with a progression. You don't know what that progression is because it's changing.
Exactly. You have to have a clipple in order to figure that out, to figure out how it changes as it moves through its excursion.
Right.
And then you have to have specialized software that can even simulate based on the clipples results.
Damn. Right, because it's just like a moving algorithm, or just, it's not in stone,
Yeah.
And
it's a moving target.
I know people like how we're talking about the EBP, estimated bandpass or whatever, and 0.4 and below, whatever, and stuff like that. And if you look at some of like the mid-tier drivers, JL, Kicker, whatever, and you can kind of get an idea with it. But I mean, honestly, I can look at a driver and maybe not just look at it, but just like pretty much look at it. How it's designed, the power, and what would it work in. You look at all these bigger subs, of what you higher powered, we'll say.
Yeah.
Not just Sundown and as a brand, but just that type of driver, Avatar, Def Bonds, of some of them. And when they're just huge motors, huge coils and very thick cones and very heavy surrounds, it's like, man, I don't think that's going to do good in a very big ported box with whatever. I think that's better for a smaller ported box with a lot of port area, compared to something that's a lighter driver, and a lighter driver, okay, it might work good in a very big ported box, or maybe not so well in a sealed box because of this type of suspension it has. And it's just, rules of thumb suck. They don't work.
Yeah, because I'm just looking it up real quick.
So Andy, what do you think about my Soliberic F10Cs up here? Everybody says sealed only, but I think ported, and they've got
those work great in ported enclosures.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what would be a good box for this? Those are 12s, right?
10s, a VAS of 3.37.
That's why they probably say no ported. That's got a very low FS, but a lot of kickers do. A lot of the older ones, like the L5s, at least the L5 that I have, and even the Solo X's, they're in the 20s of the FS range. It's kind of low. Maybe just a loose spider. I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't tune it too low, but you got to think, if you tune around your FS, and then you're not going to have much at the top end. So you kind of want to tune within reason, and there's more variables than just FS, so I don't want to give you misinformation. Yeah. But I would say literally tune like how you normally would, and then you might have a second dip that might be bigger because you have a lower FS, or less of a dip because your driver is liking that frequency free air and your port happens to be big enough and it's still doing something. That's kind of what happened with Cookie Monster. I just happen to have enough, and low FS. If I would throw an 18-inch, we'll say it was square, but a driver like the new one, maybe the new one might not do as well with that enclosure. Maybe the port needs to be bigger and the box needs to be smaller. My score might not go up or down because it's a stiffer driver. It's just different. So I don't know. I would say 1.8 cubes per.
That's where. Yeah, I'm just looking at the DD website real quick, and the 95. Yeah, the 9518 has a QTS of 0.716, which suggests
SPL.
Well, according to the rules of thumb, that says you should stick it in an infinite baffle.
Really? When it's higher than I thought it was well, you said 0.17 or 0.7?
0.7.
0.7. I thought, okay, 0.4 below was like sealed, 0.4 to 0.5 was both, and then 0.5 and up. 0.5 to 1 was ported, and then 1 after that is just
0
like...
0 to 0.4 is ported, 0.4 to 0.7 is sealed, 0.7 and up is infinite baffle.
Are you talking about QTC? Wait, I'm so confused. QTC, that's where, okay, QTS, okay.
Yeah.
I thought we were talking about EBP still. I'm like, wait a minute. We're backwards. Yes, okay, QTC. QTS. QTC for sealed enclosures, right.
Yes.
Right.
QTC is only in the sealed enclosure, but I mean, that's where it's suggesting that the 9518 should go in an infinite baffle.
Wow.
Do not put the 9518 in an infinite baffle.
Is it because it has a low QTC?
Because it has a high QTS.
high QTS. Okay, see, I'm getting lost here. QTS is usually a parameter you see in the spec sheet. Mm-hmm. The QTC is from the enclosure and the driver put together. Okay.
So what's a low key? So the Solar
tread water here. Sorry.
They have a QTS of 0.29.
Which theoretically suggests porting. And those are older drivers, so they'll be more... They'll conform more to the rules of thumb than more modern drivers.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense.
You can ask Hi-Fi Vega. Like, tons of people put the solo barracks in ported enclosures, and they're great.
Yeah, just use a subsonic, That's from what I'm hearing that people were talking about. I'm like, oh, that's perfect. That's perfect information for El Fuego. He can put it in a ported box.
I'm going to take an educated guess and hook the DATs up to it and see where we end up, okay?
I don't like the DATs. Hear me out. If you put a DATs in there, it can supposedly figure out your tuning frequency of your enclosure, but wouldn't the driver dependent change that in a way? If you would have, say you knew you were tuned to 32. You put a driver, it's in there, it's stiffer. And then you put a driver in there that's looser. And it has a lower FS, and it's just, it just works lower than the tighter, stiffer, higher FS driver. Wouldn't the tuning frequency be a little bit lower on the DATs because that subwoofer is working easier? But I don't know. It's because it's such a fast sweep and low power. Again, another way, it's like...
So what impedance rise is looking at is how much movement you get out of the driver at a given wattage. Right. And port tuning is where the driver moves the least.
Right.
So that is always going to be the lowest point in the impedance sweep, at least between the two big peaks.
Right, and
so that's what you use to figure out the tuning of the enclosure.
Right, and the thing with it though, because real world application, we're putting a lot of watts, woofer's moving a lot, and I feel like, it's not like the tuning's going to change, but how it works with that tuning is going to change with more power play.
Yes, it will. Yeah, so the tuning frequency of the box itself stays basically constant. It does change a little bit because the subwoofer is physically taking up air in the box.
Yes.
It's physically changing, but that's minor. The tuning of the box stays constant. How the sub reacts to the box does not stay constant.
Right. And that's why, I see it, it's like the sub's not even, moving, and it's like real fast, and I'm like, man, I don't even do my test burps that fast because it's not accurate, but, right. To get you an idea, absolutely.
It's just getting the impedance.
Right, it's all more electrical impedance with a little bit of mechanical. Not even. I don't.
It's purely so the way that TS parameters work is based on the impedance sweeps. It simulates the driver effectively as a crossover circuit, and so then you can simulate the enclosure and everything else as more circuit components in there. Wow. And that's how you derive everything else.
Damn.
So it's breaking the woofer down to resistor, capacitor, inductors, and simulating it that way.
See, that makes sense. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that's why you don't need much. You're just reading the impedance at different frequency values, and that takes no time.
No. I mean, it makes sense with and that's. It's not like I'm saying that doesn't work. I'm not stupid, but it's just like real world, like we were saying, things change and just I feel like I've learned backwards.
The TS parameters themselves are. That's much more up for debate. I don't put a ton of stock in them.
Right. They were even talking about how different companies rate them at 2.87 watt or 2.87 volts or 1 watt at if it's at 4 ohms or 8 ohms, it could be getting twice the power if it's wired, because I know they do it in series. I know that much.
Yeah, industry standard is in series, and so then whether although the efficiency spec does take into account whatever resistance or whatever impedance the woofer is presenting. But yeah, the sensitivity versus efficiency, that's less a problem of the parameters being accurate and more a problem of companies being deceptive.
Yeah.
Because I'll see it all the time where a company lists, because efficiency is 1 watt 1 meter, sensitivity is 2.83 volts 1 meter. And so companies will list the sensitivity, and people assume that it's 1 watt 1 meter because they don't say that it's not. But then if you actually look, the Dual 2 will be 3 dB more sensitive or more efficient than the Dual 4.
See, you know...
And that's where, like, people go, oh man, this 8-inch sub has, like, an 89 dB efficiency, and if you actually look, it's a Dual 1 that's got an 89 dB sensitivity.
Wow. See, I feel kind of lucky being with Kicker, because it's like I've kind of just taken everything with a grain of salt, and at least they're accurate with their stuff, you know? Where it's like, oh yeah, this one's 84, and this one's 86, and then that one's 89, you know? And
they've
even
got the clipple, so...
Yeah, you would think. Now, Rockville and all those other ones, I don't know, man. Y35 yoke? What's that even mean? Why is that in there? Aren't they all kind of like...
That's another thing I've taken notice to. Like, select manufacturers don't advertise specific specs. Some things they share and some things they don't. Yeah. Why is it that they're not furnishing that information? Is that hiding some kind of proprietary... Will they give you the formula for their setup? I mean, you can get that information by doing all the respective testing.
Yeah. Yep. Bob, like with DD, it's because we don't believe in TS parameters. We don't believe that the models are accurate. And the specific reason we don't publish the TS parameters is because our subs sound great. They model like shit. My 1112s, in my enclosure, it predicted that I would have a 12 dB peak at 60 hertz. That's what my ISD told me it would be.
That
and then
makes
when I actually
sense.
get in there, it peaks at 50, which makes a little bit of sense with the cabin gain and everything. But then it's got response all the way down.
Right.
And so the way that it, versus I had another sub in there that it predicted would be linear all the way down to 30 hertz. And that one, it rolled off way faster. Like, there was way less of that low end compared to my 1112s. Despite WinISD telling me the exact opposite.
Wow. I mean, I wanted to bring up, because you were saying about the, it just doesn't measure up right, and plugging it in, like how you were saying it was telling you to go infinite baffle, and you just shouldn't do that. In the beginning, with that Ultimate Car Audio app, or no, the SPL calculator, that efficient, whatever, I would try to type in the Solo X. Yeah, it was a Solo X or an L715, something, one of the Kickers. And it was one of the tall small parameters. I think it was the QMS. That's what it was. The QMS is 10, at least on the 15 CVR. Like, it's a higher number. And his values only went to 9.99. I'm typing this in, and it just wasn't working. And I'm like, is it because of just like the same kind of what you're talking about, or am I just totally left field here?
It's probably just that he didn't expect the value to get that high.
Is it just because of what type of driver they are? Like, I don't know. Yeah, what?
It all depends.
Jeez.
Because I know that, in theory, you can have, the most floppy suspension in the world. Most floppy physical suspension. And on paper, the driver will perform perfectly normally because you've got a really strong motor and therefore really high QES.
Okay.
So you've got basically no physical suspension, and all of the damping is coming from the motor and the coil.
Right.
Which on paper will look just fine.
Right.
That sub will sound terrible.
Right.
It will not
Damn.
sound good.
That's the thing, you know. Does it work in real world or not, you know? But I feel like you almost should still list it for just, you know, like how Boss Audio and all them, even Kicker did for a while too, until recently, put max rating watts. You know, it's almost like you almost need it just for us, even me, you know. It's not like I'm looking for any other brand right now, but, you know, it's nice to know, you know. But
we all know
Cornut, real quick.
You'll hop on the Boss bandwagon as soon
Oh,
as you
dude,
can.
if they bring out a square sub, I'm switching. Just kidding. Yeah, if you look up oh wait, I moved it over. They do have displacement. It's only on the Kicker app. I don't think it's in the manual. That's displacement of Solo X18, 0.18 cubic feet.
Huh.
Or that's 10. The 18 is 0.28. So they do have it. They didn't always. Because I remember asking them a while ago about that. And they have some, I don't know who actually works on the app. I know it's not Bill. It's not anyone else we know. Because I was complaining to them. I'm like, I can't see anything on this app. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? And they're like, oh, well, no, we're looking into it. Looks good on our side. I'm like sending them screenshots. Here, they didn't update the app yet. And I was on dark mode. I couldn't see anything. So they fixed it. But, you know, it's just like, hey. I see little typos too. I'm weird, you know, because I'm on that website a little bit too much. I'm like, hey, that's
that's how
this guy
I am
again.
with DD. I remember when the PSW subs first came out, I messaged Kevin and I said, hey, you know, I just looked at this and the power rating that's listed in the specs is not the same as what's on the back of the motor. And he said, how can you even see the back of the motor? Because I guess seeing the website on mobile gives different pictures than seeing the website just on your computer.
Makes sense, you know. Yeah. Jeez.
But yeah, I'll catch all that kind of stuff because I'm also on the DD website way too much.
Yeah. It's bad. It's bad.
Oh, yeah.
Baba, you're awful quiet over there with El Fuego. What's going on, man?
These are the kind of discussions I like to hear because, you know, it gives you a little bit more insight into understanding, you know, the tuning theory. You know, this is what you have to consider. You know, this is the parameters you have to work within. If this, then that. You know, I'm starting to acquire more knowledge in speaking with you guys and, you know, hearing RGA speak. And then I hear, you know, thankfully we've got Elliot in our group now. That is pretty killer.
Yeah. Elliot knows a lot.
Hey, I'm glad you're here, Bubba. And, you know, I'm the same way. I go for the techie stuff.
You need to just hit up Elliot and have him design a tapped horn for you.
Is a tapped horn like a third order? Is that considered a third? Or am I just being dumb?
So,
But could I do that with the space I have?
yeah, maybe.
That's borderline,
You
bro.
could-
I mean,
if you want it to, if you just want that punch and impact, you could get a tapped horn tuned to 60 hertz.
Yeah.
Uh,
Tune for the moon.
yeah, but
You want-
that would
you want
honestly
big-
sound great. Like
You want big bass
You wouldn't
out of
get much low bass out of it, but it would sound so nice.
What kind of
So-
music do you listen to, Baba?
I
That's
am
the
all over
question.
the map, bro. I am
Okay.
all over the map. Hip hop,
And-
reggae, rock. I mean, you name it. Any mainstream music except heavy metal or any oddball stuff. Pretty just mainstream music.
So you could almost listen to anything within reason and still, because you kind of want to play music that works with your system, you know. When I'm in the quad box compared to Cookie Monster or another build, I'm playing different music within a range, you know, just of what they excel in. You know, you could probably almost get more out of your system if you would switch to, okay, hey, I'm going to build, you know, a box with 2 8s, but it's going to be big. And it's going to have a decent sized port. You got a lot of power, but not too big port because we know how that goes, you know, and get a lot of low end extension, a lot more performance. And you might lose that tight bass. But, you know, I think you might get more what you're looking for. But then you're looking at a custom box, you know, and then you're not going to get that out of those truck boxes, you know, as you buy.
Right.
They just don't make them. I mean, maybe a Gately box, but just because they tune it probably a little bit lower than maybe a Fox box, or I don't know. I don't know enough about truck box designers. Maybe MTI. I think that's one of the companies that do them too. But at that rate, man, you know us. We can tell you some measurements, and you can get close. You could get close and build your own box.
You could just seal off the ports of that Fox box and have the 4 like L7S or L7Q8s in there.
I was reading
that would
an
probably
article.
sound pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Huh. How would I block those vents? What would be a good application?
Just
Piece of wood, literally piece of wood.
Stuff a
Do
freaking
something
pillow in
temporary.
there.
Yeah, almost temporary. But do you? Because then you might want to be like, okay, this sounds good. I'm gonna build a new one so it looks good. I don't know. It's hard to tell because you got a nice box there, but you want more, and that's the thing. And I know what you're trying to get. It's
So basically,
still standard to see.
I'm looking for the holy grail. Sounds SQ, but can be loud.
Right.
You know what I mean? But nowadays, we're not doing too many activities with my Hawaiian Civic Club. So the whole thing with loud was about we use our vehicles in large fields and in the different halls that we go into, and it's just for background ambient music.
Right.
Because I have so much sound deadening in my truck, even with all 4 doors open, it only sounds 150 to 200 feet away. You can hear it. Other guys are bumping their tunes. You can hear them a quarter mile away.
I mean, they might be playing lower, or it depends. It depends, because you don't have any of the vehicle amplifying it, kind of like a horn, because your doors are wide open. You don't have that trunk for things to build up and pressurize and then come out.
Right.
The boxes I like for that truck, Bob, are the ones that Froze built on his channel, Stereo King, that have 2 13 TW5s in them. And those things
TW5s are not cheap, though.
No.
I mean, those things just rock. Be perfect with your amps, too.
Yeah.
Because I was going to reach out to him and see if he's still building boxes. I don't even know if he's still building boxes.
Yeah, you can get him. I've met him in person. All you got to do is twist his arm a little bit. He'll build it for you.
Even Cornut was talking about, SJC's on. What's up, SJC?
Yo, I know. I was just looking. What's up, buddy?
I mean, the box itself doesn't look. I mean, you just got to have the right tools and patience and be a pro at doing it. The box itself, from a layman's standpoint, doesn't look all that hard to build. But
Well, and Baba, the problem that you're running into is not that it's easy to get really good sounding loud bass. Like that's kind of DD's MO. Like that's not very hard. A 3515 supercharged is an insane sub. The problem you're running into is that you don't have any space.
Yep.
So that's the thing is if I go Gately, that's a 2.5-inch riser kit. Right now the box I have is 5/8. So my youngest, her feet can still touch the ground. If I go 2.5-inch, lift, she's gonna have a hard time. She's gonna have to hop up into the seat. And
You're not gaining all that much extra space is the thing.
No, I didn't think so. So I'm thinking about finding a solution with existing Fox box with a proper matching, set of 4 subs.
Is it the same box you sent me?
Yeah,
a while ago.
Each chamber is 1.4 cubic feet, tuned at I think like 35 hertz.
Wow. Wait, 1.5 per 8, and there's 4 of them? Like
1.4, 2 chambers.
Okay, so 0.7 sharing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
0.7 per sub.
That's tight for ported, but I mean they're 8s. For the Type R's, that's kind of good. I mean, the L7 8, I think, is the biggest ported is 1. So you're right around there. I mean, you could throw the L7 S's in there, and you'd probably be louder, and they wouldn't sound worse than the Type R's.
Yeah, the minimum recommended vented box volume for the L7 S8 is 0.66.
There you go.
And that's where, one of the reasons I've been talking about the 1108 specifically is that's on the larger end of what they like, because they're made for small boxes.
Yeah, you almost want to be in that recommended air spec range, Kind of like that short I put out, like literally.
I prefer to be on the bigger side of recommended.
Right. Yeah, you don't want to be on the minimum. That's why. Yeah, because 0.66 and 0.7, that's on the bare minimum. But you're ported. But how big is the port? It's probably not big enough to, work
That's
as
another
good
thing.
as it could.
What's interesting about that is they don't advertise the port size on Fox Acoustic
But
site.
most of those box builders don't advertise a ton of the specs because that's all that they're doing for the most part.
Yeah. I mean, if it's tuned to 32, you can get that in a bunch of different ways, 32 hertz.
Yeah.
Wider, longer, shorter, whatever. You can measure it yourself, and figure it out. Use that app that I, just measure it, get an idea. Or at least, the port dimensions, and we can figure it out. But man, I feel like a lot of prefabs come with at least 12 square inches per cube, rule of thumb. 12 to 16. It might even be 16, so it might be enough port area, but again, you might be choking them, so then it might work better, like Blake was saying, to seal them off. And you got the power to make up for it. You might not be, quote, as loud and peaky, but you would have more bandwidth.
I think it would at least be worth just plugging the ports and seeing if you like the sound more.
Put some
I'll
pillows in
give
it.
that a try. Just experiment and see if there's an improvement. Yeah, absolutely. That don't cost nothing but time.
Yeah, exactly.
Try the pillows. Telling you, try the pillows before you put a piece of wood, because then you'll be like, I got holes in my box.
Yeah, no. I saw something.
With the wood, what you do is you have a couple of. You see, Baba, this is why you have kids, so you can have the kids just hold the wood in place.
Yes.
While
You're
you
like,
test
hold
it
it.
out.
Let me try a different song, honey. Hold on.
But they're not in the car all the time. That's the catch.
Yeah.
No. That's why you employ them to do that.
Exactly. They're there for
Right,
a reason.
Yeah, you volunteer them.
It's a working. Bring your kids at work day. You guys got to come in with me.
Yeah, they could be taking up airspace, so that's 0.7 before displacement. What are those type
but
R's
that
like?
08 has more than even like point.
0.1, not even. Still, but
I'm more
we're talking
for-
points.
Yeah.
We are.
I'm looking at reaching out to Jason V13 and probably just getting 1108s from him.
Nice. You can try different stuff. That's half the hobby of what we do, is just trying things and testing things, so that in the future. But man, I really do feel like MBE hit the nail on the head with those 8s, and yes, the Qs, they can take more power and stuff, but I feel like the L7S's watt for watt can keep up, and the Qs might work a little bit better, and maybe a smaller box, and they might be punchier. I don't know. There's a lot of factors with it.
MB puts everything in huge boxes.
I know, and that's
Byron's box for his two 2508s is larger than my box for my two 1112s.
Jesus. Is it?
Granted.
It's a regular ported enclosure.
Yeah.
Right? It's not horned or anything or tapered.
It's a standard ported enclosure. It's that he prefers to underpower subs.
All right, so I'd like to answer SJC. These are 8-inch Alpine R2s, and if I invert them, that would mean the motor is external to the box, and I got kids.
Yeah, they might kick at it, but it might be footrest too, Depends which way you look at it. And you would gain some airspace. You would actually probably be a little bit louder. It might play a hair lower too. And I don't know, even whenever I had kickers like a L7 or L515, I always call it L7, but it's an L5, but it's the one that I used to compete with, and I know a lot about it. Even in the 6 Cube, which was the max spec, and a 6-inch Aero, it was way too small. I needed an 8, never finished it. Box fell apart, moved on, car broke down. Long story short, with it non-inverted, and then inverting it, I gained a whole dB and a half, and it was already at the max spec, and it's just like, even if you have airspace that you don't need to gain, you can gain, but then you might lose something. I feel like you could invert them and try that. That's another thing. It's free. But then you got to look at the mounting. Are they recessed? Is that recessed? Do you have enough room for your surround to flex and not hit, and eyeing that up? And mounting them it's harder sideways too.
I mean, the Alpine, their recommendation is 0.73 cubic feet, so that's right at ideal.
Jeez.
Maybe, making the box volume a bit smaller would give you more power handling, Baba, but that would be because the subs are moving less.
Yep.
So you wouldn't get more output, you'd just get more power handling.
Yeah, efficiency.
See, I got spoiled with the sealed box because the way it was unloading off the floor, all sound energy was hitting right at the back seats. I was actually getting wind with an 800 watt amp.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which that's mind blowing. Nothing like how your car does, Andy, but it was enough to move my hair. And I'm looking at my wife, and her hair is moving. It's not like how when Kayla's standing at the door. But it's moving. I'm like, holy crap! That's with 1 amp. It's only 800. Well, actually 900 watts with two 12-inch subs, and I got air.
A lot of factors go into that, especially with the down firing. That's my buddy, JR. He had 215s. He got a box built by Drew. Love you, Drew, but you failed on this one. He fired the subs in, firing into the car and the port back. And it did okay, but it just didn't sound right. And I know trucks are different. I built him a box, same amount of power, same everything, 3 dBs louder, just subs up, port back. And it just because of that loading factor with just how everything works. And it's just for SPL, 55 hertz. That's kind of what you do, and Honda CRXs, we know it. But with trucks, they're weird too. I have that small standard cab, and the system's louder with the sub firing forward than back. So I'm not going to tell you to fire your subs the other way because it probably doesn't work. But that down firing is almost like the perfect way to do it in those trucks because you get a little bit of both.
Because it feels like you get a resonance. With the sound energy whacking the floor.
Yep.
It's just amazing the amount of, acoustic energy that I was getting.
Yep.
Windows up, windows down, it didn't matter. It's like, holy crap.
Even from the subs firing down, your car's kind of flexing too. A little bit of flex can help. And it's almost like it's like a giant gum band going back and forth, and that might be a little bit of a reason. Plus, just how wavelengths extend. The waves going further, and it's traveling, and it's just what's the word I'm looking for? Just being louder, vibrates more because it's hitting that wavelength measurement. I don't know. God, talking out my ass right now.
That's
part of the challenge. I'm also
there's also a lot of good reasons to not fire your subs back, like for me in case I want to toss anything back there.
Right.
So mine are firing forwards, which makes that 141.3 on stock electrical even more impressive.
I was going to say, yeah, and you had what, the 2 8s, 2 10s? What do you have?
212s.
212s. 212. Okay, 212s. Right. Yeah. And that's in a trunk or a hatch? Trunk. Yeah, do you have them slid back all the way, or are they right?
They're
really?
All the way forward.
Wow, if you slid them all the way back, you'd probably gain a dB or two, and then fire them the other way, and maybe even louder.
That measurement, that was just like, one of the guys just had his term lab on him, and I was like, let me meter my car. So it had all the junk in it, and didn't play around with the seat placement at all. It was just, okay, peak at 49, just burn.
I remember getting a 140, that was the first time I metered, but getting anything more, it was always a struggle. But now it's a 140 just comes out of nothing now. And that's why I want to help you guys to get, I'm listen, a 40 ain't too hard to get as long as you have enough space for your bass. And that's what's troublesome about Bubba, because he doesn't want to give up nothing, and that's okay. But it's he's got the power, because you got 2 of those precision audio 800.1s, right?
LC, audio control, LC
audio control.
1.800s.
That's okay. And then you have each Type R, they're what, dual 4s, and you got it wired at 1 on each amp?
No, they're wired at 2.
Yeah,
is that a 2 ohm?
Aren't 2 ohms, or aren't 1 ohm stable, I don't think.
Okay, so you're where you should be on it. Okay,
I'm sorry. There are 4s going down to 2, and then 2. Wait, the overall load is 2 ohms. However the hell they're wired, I can't even think straight.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
They're going to be dual 2s then.
But they don't need that much power anyway, and then I mean you're probably seeing 300-400 to the pair, 150 at a peak, and then more at a lower frequency and higher frequency. So I mean you're musically there. I mean you could use more power. You could even wire down, but now you can't because you'd be too low. I just know with good amps, you could throw in a different, dual 2s so that you're at 1 ohm. I'm telling you, man, if you got a good amp, you never see that low impedance. Like say you're 2 ohms, the lowest you're going to see is probably 2.5, 2.6, and then it goes up. And then when you start at 2, you multiply anything from 2 to 4x your starting rise normally. And if you're starting at 1, you go to like 2 or 4. But if you start at 2, you're going to 4 or 8. And I know amps still make good power at 6 and 8 ohms, but it depends the amp. I feel like 1 ohm, yes, you can lose more control being wired below what the amp can do. You can shut off the amp by, playing too low. It just can't do that amount of power. Man, I pushed those CX 1800s to the limit. I had them at half ohm. Ohm, rising to 1.5, and I was able to almost get 1800 watts out of each one. I was clamping 3,400 watts out of both of them. That's why I'm like, I had them wired at 1, clamping 1900 out of each, rising to like 2.3, 2.2, clipping all day, but, regardless. But I literally had to sit there and watch the amperage, because you have your volt rail and then you have your amperage. That's how you get your watts of your amp. Well, I had to watch the amperage because once it got to 31, it liked to trip and say, no more than 31, and that's all you get.
Protection circuit.
I got past that. If I just rolled into it ever so slowly, it'd go 32, 32.3, 30. Like, it wasn't me just like, whatever. That's what I had to do. Otherwise, it just went right off. And I'm like, are you kidding me? This is, but yeah.
Yeah, because the protection circuit, the low voltage protection circuit, it doesn't look at like the impedance. It looks at how much current is passing.
Right. And if you know that number, that's SPL talking though. Go ahead, El Fuego.
Quick question for you guys with an impedance rise. Would you expect more impedance rise in a small steel box or a larger ported box?
A larger ported, but it depends the port. Seals are usually low. I mean, I've had. Let me think.
Okay, so the sealed box is going to, in standard musical passband, the sealed box is generally going to have more rise, but it all kind of depends because the most rise you're going to see is in free air, because that's when there's the least amount of restrictions on the subs moving.
Right.
So a large sealed box acts like free air. A small sealed box, you get a big efficiency peak, and so right at that tuning or that resonant frequency of the box system, you'll get a lot of impedance rise there in the small sealed box, whereas the ported box, effectively away from the port tuning, from the sub's perspective, acts more like free air.
Yep.
And so the free air... so the free air... sorry, I saw SJC's comment.
No, you're good.
Yeah, so away from box tuning, it acts like it's in free air, so you're seeing that free air rise. Yeah. But then at the box tuning, it drops it. So
right.
I've just been putting like my AMM1 on some things, and looking at the impedance going all over the place, right? Like you're saying, Andy, when it's playing music.
Yeah.
And it's hard for me to tell how much of that has to do with impedance rise or just the music itself, right?
I mean, the impedance rise of the sub.
Right.
Is what you're measuring there.
the frequency is just, what you're playing through it, right? But then the box is what's making, and how the subwoofer's reacting with it. What I was kind of talking about was, for SPL, if I tried playing music on that, it was shutting off at like half volume, because when I'm playing different frequencies, I'm not getting as good rise, so I'm hitting that amperage cutoff quicker, and that's where, competing, you can kind of, okay, I can stay in this window here and I'm good. But if you try playing music, which is all over the place, good luck, you can't. But that's why I was kind of telling Bubba, I'm like, yeah, you can wire down. Speaking of which, we lost Bubba. You can wire down. I closed the wrong. Oh, we'll get him back. Anyway, with music and wiring down to 1 ohm on his 2 ohm amp, I feel like he'd be okay, long as, especially with the kind of box he has, it's not like he's playing 16 hertz, 20 hertz, 25 hertz, way below tuning. And same thing with the top end, because your impedance drops too when you start playing way above your tuning, like you were saying. It drops off, it acts like free air, because that port's not doing anything. It's not, I guess, slowing down the woofer. It's not building pressure. It's acting like a free air environment, so then your impedance drops. So maybe with sealed enclosures, because there's more impedance rise and there's less of that drop per se, it might be better to run lower impedances on a sealed enclosure. And maybe that's why I got away with it and had no problems whatsoever on the CX at 1 ohm with the sealed box. I could play whatever. It never shut off. But I feel like I just mechanically I just couldn't. I'd play like 36 hertz and I just heard something funky and I'm like, we ain't doing that. But it was tiny sealed, so.
Yeah, sealed boxes also can't handle nearly as much power as a ported box, at least in the standard passband.
Right.
If you get into like trying to play really low frequencies, then the sealed has more power handling, but if you're listening to actual music, you're good.
See, that's crazy. It's like you think you know something and then you don't. I like hearing your thoughts of wisdom, Blake. I really do, because I wish I would have went to school or a trade for this, to actually learn about these things. I'm just literally doing it backwards, but it's okay. Yeah. But it's crazy, and it's cool that we can do this kind of stuff and talk about it, man. It's awesome. It's awesome. Absolutely. Yeah, Fuego, don't worry about it. Box rise. You should almost call it sub rise. It's not even the box.
I don't like the term box rise. I prefer impedance rise. Because the box, 99%, unless you're doing like a way too small sealed enclosure, the box reduces the impedance rise.
Right. It's all the electronic stuff. It's just a lot of variables, man. Just don't worry about it unless you're competing. And then even when you're competing, man, just get a bigger amp. Do the same thing. Just get more power.
Yeah, the reality is these subs are already installed in my vehicle, so all I got to do is switch the wiring, drop the impedance, see what the amplifiers do, and hook my AM-M1 up to it, right, and see where the where the ohm load is.
Wire it into the dirt.
Yes.
Wire it into the dirt.
Quarter ohm Fuego.
No, I mean we would be going right now. I'm running them at 8 ohm mono. And the amps are rated for 4 ohm mono, so I'd be dropping it to a 2 ohm mono load on the amplifier.
Oh, wow.
Andy, is that mic? Is that a Blue Yeti?
A blue mine? No.
Yeah. What is yours?
This is Elgato. I was actually going to get a Elgato Wave 3. I was going to get the Blue Yeti because even Bill was like, oh yeah, this is, and they actually have that one there. I've seen it sitting there. I'm like, oh, that's why. He was like, oh yeah, this is a good one. It's what a lot of podcasters use. And I looked at it. I'm like, okay, it's nice. It's good. It's around the same price as this. But when I stumbled across this, I'm like, ooh, I got audio plugins. I can do all this fancy, like, here, look, I'll show you.
Yeah, with the board.
Yeah, the Blue Yeti it's a really good microphone, but it's been around for a long time, so it's kind of obsolete at this point.
Right.
No, because I was about to say, your mic, I mean, the pickup on your voice is really good and clear.
Yeah.
When compared to what we're using.
Yeah, that was the one thing I really wanted to get, because whenever I went on the Unmasked show the first time, I'm like, man, I sound like garbage. I can't do that. And I started looking into mics, and out the box, it sounded okay. it sounded a lot better than nothing. I actually added a compressor in here. Actually, here I'll show you. What's cool is it has all these switches here, and right here you can actually add it. Real comp right there, and then that's the only one I got is the compressor, and you can actually change this stuff here. Let me pull this over here. Compressor, I think I have it set at -18, -16. So anything below that, it'll just kind of cut out, and that helps with like background noise. Like I have no sound dampening in here at all. It just artificially does it, which is nice. Yes, you need that. I know you know all about this, Blake.
and Bob, the only reason why my mic doesn't sound better is because nobody told me when I bought the Wave 3 that I actually had to download software.
I'm sorry. Listen, it's not user friendly. It's not. It's like on a weird, sketchy website, and it's not part of Elgato. You can go on their website, and they're like, "Here you go. Good luck. This is how you do it." I'm like,
and I still haven't done it, so all my audio is coming through a Logitech webcam right now. So I when I get a spare moment, I'm going to get my Elgato Wave 3 set up and fix a lot of the problems.
Hey, so let me know when you're free.
You can hear the difference in audio quality when you're listening to YouTube. You can hear the compression.
Oh yeah.
It's like when I mute this channel and I mute this particular tab and I go over to the YouTube, you can hear a difference in audio quality. It's just amazing.
Yeah. They definitely compress it. I mean, it's not as bad as Facebook. I feel like Facebook. I mean, I started streaming whenever I started streaming 1080. Recently, it started posting in 1080. I'm like, oh, Facebook streams in 1080 now? That's something new. But right, yeah, it's not meant for that stuff. But I mean, they almost have to. Otherwise, they just wouldn't have enough room for everyone's storage, I guess. Plus, what? Bandwidth limitations over the internet? I don't know.
Yeah.
I wonder what the streaming model for Discord is, because when we did that last chat, RGA, Brian, Blake, a bunch of guys were video casting, and they cap you at 720p. But what was amazing, RGA and Brian are walking around with their phones. The reception they had over internet, it operated flawlessly. I was just impressed by that.
Yeah.
Whereas you see videos like Dean, and Hi-Fi is doing stuff walking around, it's choppy here and there.
Blurry.
It was bulletproof.
That's crazy.
I inadvertently
Discord
did an upgrade.
is extremely well optimized.
I didn't.
Also, keep in mind that Discord stream was only going to like 6 people instead of going to. I mean, here it's only going to 6 people, but yeah. In an actual live stream, it's going to way more.
So I upgraded. I did that Nitro upgrade, not knowing what it was. I thought when you did the upgrade, because it says server upgrade, I assumed that what I was paying for was going to upgrade for all participants. And no, that's false advertising. Only I got the upgrades. I got the bigger downloads. I got the better video and audio quality and all this other stuff.
I know, that's what was stupid. I tried sending you that video of your speakers, and it was like, oh, it's only 8 megabyte freaking, I'm like, what is 8 megabytes in a video? That's nothing.
Nothing.
10 seconds.
So I sent him a 3-minute video, but it was like a potato phone. Yeah. I was like, well, at least he can hear what I'm saying.
No, it was adequate. I was surprised.
It was enough, just enough.
Yeah. What was it? I saw a Reddit post where somebody compressed the entire Shrek movie down enough that it was able to fit as like a 128 megabyte GIF.
Oh my God.
On Reddit.
Oh, you know what? I seen, what was it, like Pokemon games as a, or some kind of game as a QR code. And I'm like, what? What?
What?
These people are nuts, man.
Doom.
Hey.
Yeah, but I mean, granted, like the Shrek movie, it was compressed. I think it was genuinely like 16 by 16 pixels.
Jeez.
So it was not exactly high res.
Everyone was looking like Shrek.
Possible.
I love crazy. That picture, Fuego.
I know, that's beautiful.
That is beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have
thinking
to
about
get your.
redoing it.
We got to get your microphone going there, Fuego. I know it's just it's not that it's super hard, but I struggled with it too. You know, I've been doing this for a while, and it's finally firing all cylinders, other than the stupid laptop. But yeah, it's working. Ever since we did fix it, though, I noticed that I can do more with like extra things, and it doesn't glitch my audio and video as much. But we'll find out Tuesday, because that's when I start flicking things around. But last Tuesday, I'm like, I think it was last Tuesday, I just noticed that there was no, or maybe it was Friday, I don't know, one of the days, maybe it was this Tuesday, I was switching from thing to thing, and I'm like waiting for it to click, you know, make that stupid little pop, and I'm like, it didn't pop. So maybe it's working better. That's why I thought the super chats were gonna work. I'm like, oh, they're working. Because it even messed up my audio. Whenever you go into StreamYard the first time, it automatically puts the auto echo cancellation on. Well, when I have that going and my background music, it messes up with my voice. It makes the background music sound like it's underwater. And I'm like, damn it, that sounds like crap. But at least the super chats are working, and that resetted something. So I'm like, we're good. Friday, we're good. We're going to have super chats. And then it just didn't work again. I'm like, you know what? I'm over it.
I just love Fuego. He just does a subtle chat, a flex rather. He changes orientation of the camera to show the other part of his room.
I know. I need to go over to my couch.
No, what I did is I was sitting on a wooden stool and it was bothering me, so I went to my cushy chair and put up a virtual background. That's from my garage in my other house.
Oh,
we couldn't even tell.
Cool.
Yeah, that's a virtual background. So those are my old school Orion amps from the 90s up there that I had.
That's awesome. It looks like you're just sitting there, El Fuego. You imaged that good. Trust me, I know Photoshop.
Technology is amazing.
You can see it's the same test bench, though. Right?
Ooh, what is Blake down?
Just casually sitting here, guys, not showing off anything.
Oh, look at that! Would you look at that?
Comfort.
Taskmaster, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I want. I want a set of those.
Can't see it. Or this is the slave. But...
The slave, yeah.
Yeah.
So when you design these are for home audio, just shelf
Yeah.
speakers, just listening to music right in front of you.
Yep, exactly.
That's awesome.
God.
It's also not light, as you can tell. Because this is all 3/4 inch MDF.
Oh, wow. Well, hey,
Which is overkill, but...
it's easier to buy. Yeah, you already know what you're working with.
Yeah.
Then you start
bet
using
those
thinner
things
wood.
can
It's like,
count.
is that too thin? I got to change my depth of my cut. Oh, Bubba, building boxes, it's a pain in the butt. But once you do it,
the nice thing is that was cut out on the CNC.
Oh, you lucky. I've been taking chances with my fingers with the darn table saw all these years. I finally got a nice Craig jig, though, which is nice. If you ever build boxes down the road, you don't have a CNC, they have that Craig jig where it just hooks up to your handsaw, and then you just, it looks like an L bracket, and it just goes through, and you set up the measurement, and you draw your line like you normally would, and it just goes to the edge of the piece of wood that you're cutting, and it goes to like 28 inches, which is good for a lot of boxes. Now, obviously, bigger, you're going to need to just eyeball it or table saw it. But it's the only reason why I haven't got rid of my table saw. I'm like, I still need to make bigger cuts, and I don't trust my hand. Jigsaw in a circle, I can do it. Straight line, good luck. Not happening.
Yeah. I don't get all the benefits that Blake does with where he works, but
Yeah.
we do have a nice shop at my work where we got a really nice panel saw. We've got, all sorts of cutting tools and whatnot. So I can get a little fringe benefit there.
Nice.
Yeah, I saw. What just happened was there was some, I'm not exactly sure what it was, but some wood looking stuff in my lap, and I was like, oh god. Yeah, I just dented the speaker, but
Oh, that's the worst, man.
I think it was from a desk, one of my ultra cheap Walmart desks or whatever. Which I don't care about these at all.
It happens. It happens. I know I got these home speakers that I got off Facebook Marketplace. Someone was getting rid of them, and home audio subwoofers, powered ones, and the amps go, so they just get rid of it, and I picked them up for no reason. I was actually just trying to get parts for one, and now they're just taking up space, and it's like, I don't want to just burn them. I don't want to just get rid of them. They're just awkward. I'm like, I could do a blow-up video, but then people are going to want more blow-up videos.
Yeah.
I see a kicker on there and blow it up. I can't do that. I can't do it. Oh, man. Yeah, I'm excited to do the test bench. I'm going to buy the, that, not test bench, but it looks like one. It's just like a workbench at Harbor Freight for $99. I'm just going to get that one, slide it right in there. I'll be able to put the power supply and the batteries underneath and, have some workspace. And the amp dyno section is going to be where my amp wall is instead. So just a little more practical. And I don't know, I like having a couch. It's cool. Casting couch.
Yeah, these are, I'll say, these are incredibly good sounding speakers because right now I'm wearing a pair of Sennheiser HD 650s being run through a Shit Audio Modi 3 Plus stack Magni Heresy headphone amplifier.
I was gonna say, you got a headphone amp and everything, man.
This is like a legit headphone setup, and these speakers being played through the trash Dayton audio amplifiers I've got, these speakers make these headphones sound low res in comparison.
Wow.
It just sounds like, you're just getting way less detail and everything compared to those speakers.
Now with headphones, I always hear the infinite baffle or the best in a closed environment,
For them, at a given level of quality relative to everything else, headphones are generally going to be more detailed, and these are considered some of the most detailed headphones at this price point.
Right.
And again, it's just outclassed. It's just fully outclassed by those speakers. And I think the biggest thing is that the tweeter that's on them is just, it's so good. Because it's a ceramic dome, which the ceramic is difficult to manufacture in high quantities, which is why you don't see it often, but it's actually got a better strength to weight ratio than beryllium.
Beryllium, I've heard of silk dome.
Yeah, so beryllium, that's what Focal uses. Yeah. Which is because the three best, in terms of a hard dome tweeter, the three best materials are, in order, it's diamond at number 1. Number 2 is the ceramic, and number 3 is the beryllium. And the beryllium material, that's what Focal uses, and they're $50,000 a pair of speakers.
Yeah, I was going to say the JBL Arena X is that three-way system is $5,000. And that's beryllium tweeters in there. But they're huge tweeters.
Yeah. Oh, these are big tweeters too, because it's a 28 millimeter dome, and then it's got a silk surround on it. Wow. So the cutout that you need for it is almost 2 inches in diameter.
Jeez. Yeah.
It's also got a big neodymium magnet on it. It's a super nice sounding tweeter. I really like it.
I feel I know we can hear the difference, and it's just if you don't have ears, you can't appreciate that stuff,
Oh no, you don't need ears to appreciate it.
No.
These, I genuinely mean it. These tweeters are in such a league of their own.
Really?
Compared to anything else I've ever heard. Because I brought one of my roommates. I brought him in. Said yeah, man, I've got these speakers. Why don't you listen to them? And all he's got is a Razer gaming headset.
Yeah.
And he went, oh wow, the top end is really nice on these. Earlier today, I brought one of my friends over, and he was like, oh my god, this is gonna make listening to music on these speakers is going to make it hard to go back to my Logitech and listen to the same music.
So I'm guessing you're not a fan of bullet tweeters, huh?
No. God, no.
I seen a guy post that today. He put his bullet tweeters in his air vents like how I got. I'm like, bro, like that's no. Like even mine's like harsh because it's like right in front of your face, you know, and it's God.
That's pain, man. What are you talking about? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
like at least
even
get some
the
full
best
range
sounding
air.
bullet tweeters, just I don't like them.
You could
The
use
bullet
two and
tweeters-
fill up a whole field. You know, you don't you don't need much.
Easily.
The bullets, well, it's not. Even if you tamp down the output, the biggest issue is that they're horn tweeters, but they don't have proper horn geometry.
Are they just like more directional kind of? Like
Well, the issue is that because they don't have the proper geometry, there's a lot of internal reflections, which is where you get that really like drawn out sound, where it'll almost, because a lot of times with like a bad bullet tweeter, it'll turn the hi-hat from like a to like a kind of sound.
Yes.
And so that's from all of the internal reflection. And even the best bullet tweeters that I've heard turn that like to a so it's not quite as bad, but it's still blurring and it's still drawing it out. You're not getting that nice crispy sound.
That's why I don't understand why they go crazy with that with the bullet tweeters, because you know, you need that fill there, but man, you need that 1K to like 10K, not the 10K to 20K to keep up with the bass. You know, you need to hear the vocals. You know, you don't need no 12-inch mid drivers, but something, man. I don't know.
I personally, I can't stand a boost starting anywhere lower than like 4K. Can't stand that at all.
Yep.
Okay, so
Yep.
Andy, you just said something that doesn't make me feel so dumb. Because I look at some of these SPL builds, and I see these doors loaded up with these 8-inch and 10-inch and just tons of mid-bass drivers. And I'm sitting there scratching my head thinking, what exactly is that all about? And then just having, from a musical standpoint, is that all really necessary? And why?
It's for the intro of the DJ Rustical video songs. That's it. It's all. It's the only part you're hearing. Really.
I haven't had a lot of demos in SPL vehicles, so I don't have much of a background to base anything on. But I'm just looking at this thing. And why wouldn't you want something that's more in the vocal range here?
Exactly. And a lot of stuff that you're playing, like DJ Rusticals, he doesn't put no 200 to 500 hertz frequencies in there. He's pulling those out. You know, so it's just clean sine waves, 60 and down. You know, I'm sure there's some kick drums that are higher and whatever.
Okay.
I think it's overkill. You know, now if you're playing just music like we do, you're gonna, those mid basses are gonna start going and whatever, but is it gonna sound that good? You know, you got those 212s and not even a box. It's fiberglass with MDF. It's not doing any. I think it's overkill, like maybe 8-inch drivers, and a bunch of them, absolutely, and make sure that they can play up to maybe 4,000, so they get that whole vocal range, if you want to call it, and then have something smaller to fill in that other gap. I know with my car, when I had the tweeters, because I don't even have tweeters on my dash anymore, I took them out, because I had them in there, and it was just too much of just like you're talking about, like that super high, like it was just, it was hurting my ears. I'm like, no, I'm good with what comes with these speakers, and it's keeping up, and I need more vocals, but that high end stuff, it's just kind of, it's killer.
Oh, and that's where
you're good, El Fuego. You're good.
I was talking to Bill today, and I was saying, like, one of the issues I'm having in my car is, what was it? Yeah, one of the issues that I'm having in my car is that I've got the D series.
Yo,
the DD
I didn't even see you chilling there. Sorry.
Very good.
Which they sound really good, but that tweeter can't be crossed over super low. And so I've got the tweeter up here, and then the mid-range, 6.5-inch mid-range down in the doors, so that mid-range starts beaming. I lose a little bit of the vocals, which isn't a huge problem inherently. The problem is that I've got a 3-way coaxial in the back that has no problem filling out that mid-range, so I'm simultaneously hearing, like, the upper part of the speakers of the vocals are coming from in front of me and are nicely on the dash, and then the mid parts are
coming from the rear.
Yeah, coming from the rear. So I'm hearing the voice from like 2 different spots.
Hey, same thing with my Pilot, man. I got the satellite speakers in the rear. It's killing my staging, but it works just to keep up with the bass.
Depending on the vehicle.
I do not have any pods in the doors or anything.
I've tapped out on louder vehicles, going back on talking about the SPL vehicles. I've tapped by freaking having a crap load of bullet tweeters in the pillars and doors, man. Just insanely, God knows what decibels. And you're like, dude, I can't do it, dude.
Did you see all them horns, though? Did you see them all?
Yeah, exactly. What I do like, I've seen a lot of people do now here recently, because I got spoiled as a child. My dad gave me a couple sets of ADS component sets, and like the silk dome tweeters off the ADS just kind of like I've said before, spoiled me for life. But they'll do a lot of like 5 or 6 silk domes in the A pillars, but they'll point them towards the windshield and then run them out of phase. So you can take because like again, like if you have a pair of silk domes, you're not going to keep up with 160 dB, 150 dB, whatever. But you're just
Enough though. We got Dave here. What is up, Dave?
Yeah, the cool thing is, so if they run them out of phase, pointing towards the windshield, by the time it bounces off the glass and comes back to you, it's back in phase.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. See, that's just all the science, nerdy physics with just yes. Yes.
I'll be back in a minute. I gotta make this right.
Oh, come on, Dave.
You're fine, Dave.
Yeah, personally, what I would really like to do in my car is that if I was going for sound quality kind of thing, I would run kind of like those A-pillar, like having all the speakers, but do just like a 3-inch mid-range, 1-inch tweeters, just going all the way down, and use that more to control the dispersion than anything else. Play around with phase a little bit.
Adding the
get
3.5
that really nice dispersion to get a proper stereo image.
Adding those up there, man, you'll add so much sound, dude. So much sound. Like,
what did you say?
Adding the 3.5s in the dash up there and the A pillar, you like even just adding tweeters in your A pillars placed correctly, it blows your mind how much sound you think is coming out of them. Like even like my tweeters on the dash, you'll think the whole vocal range is coming out of the tweeter if you're just listening because you're like, there's the staging. But man, like I sat in a Gately Audio build, an F350, and mine's an Excursion, and I always thought that I had good imaging and staging in my truck. And don't get me wrong, I have good. It really is good, somewhat imaging, and you can definitely tell a center and almost things go left and right and all that stuff. But man, a properly DSP'd 3-way active setup with the 3.5s and the tweeters and the pillars, dude, I'm telling you, I put on a Dire Straits song. It's like one of my SQ songs, "You and Your Friends." It's just got like a huge different range of high and lows, and they usually make tweeters distorted and stuff like that if they're not tuned correctly. But it sounded like he was playing the instruments on the middle of the fucking hood, dude. I mean, like, I didn't mean to curse that, but I mean, I was like, instantly, it was like, my soundstage is not the same.
No.
But, yeah, I'm pretty excited.
I know
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Andy.
No, I was going to say, when I heard John's Mustang, and then I got back in the quad box, I'm like, what is this?
Yeah.
What is this? There's nothing here.
As soon as I heard those instruments way out in the front of me and like in the front of the car, I was like, okay, yeah, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
Dave, you made it.
I don't put a lot of stock in the SPL guys that are like, oh yeah, man, my build is so clean, it sounds so great. Because 95% of the time they haven't heard what good imaging and staging are.
Sure.
Right.
They haven't heard like what the music in a sound quality sense is supposed to be.
Hear me out though, Blake. There's like a catch-22 with it. And like, you know, generally speaking, when you're talking about a sound quality type build, you're going to be using some fairly efficient drivers.
Yeah.
So like, there's really a point of diminishing return, and like I've seen it firsthand because like I was like a big proponent. I had like Alpine Type X components in my doors, stuff like that, and I was like, oh, these sound amazing, and they're great components. The minute I hit like above like 145 decibels, you could literally just watch them go up in the doors when I drop bass, and like it literally, like it would get hot, and like it would make weird noises, all kinds of stuff like that. So there's like a certain point where you're like pretty much stuck going pro drivers. Mm-hmm. But I mean, there's only so much, you know, you're going to get wiggle room there as far as it sounds great, within what limitations do, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good luck getting your staging once you start, like you said, over that 145 dB, even 140 dB to have that staging.
I want it to be like fucking tits, where I can give you like a low bass volume, like a really good sound quality demo, and then just, you know, drop the knob.
Yeah. That's kind of where my system's at.
Heck yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Heck yeah. It's nice to be able to do a little bit, I mean, that's what's cool about dueling demos. I don't know if you've ever done it in Mecca, dueling demos, where it's just outside the car. So there's more variables of just like 360 sound. But even guys like you, Scott, can do really good in that because you keep the bass knob down, you got your mids playing, and it's more of outside the vehicle than in. It's all it's about. It's just outside the vehicle.
I'm honestly having a freaking blast now, though. Like I said it on our stream, like driving the Civic here lately with the small Gately audio stuff set up in it, like the single 8 and all that stuff. Because again, like I don't catch. Okay, I say the Excursion sounds good, and it does, but I still catch myself listening to rebased music like 99.9% of the time. Yeah. So it's like. I catch myself listening to different stuff when I have a more music-oriented system also.
That's why I love the quad box, man. I love it.
Well, and also that
factor.
That little 8-inch isn't just gonna like cave your skull in with 60 hertz.
Believe it or not, I mean, you're right, dude. But that Gately Audio Alpha 8 though is very impressive.
Oh, I bet. So, I was just saying like compared to the Excursion.
Yeah, I didn't think you were saying anything bad about it, but I'm powering on like 200 watts off 2 channels of a Kicker 400 watt amp that I got from Andy. The only reason I put it in the car was because it's the only amp that I could feed off 8-gauge wire, so that was already in the car. So, but swap into an STX 800.1 on it. I bet it's gonna like wake that stuff the crap up.
Oh yeah.
Waco, how you doing, buddy? Dave, what's up, man?
Doing good.
I'm assuming this is Baba right here.
Yeah, this is Baba. He's been having technical difficulties, but he's here.
I can't get the freaking web camera to work, man.
I mean, hey, at least the microphone is working this time.
Right.
Baba says his microphone doesn't work, but he's really sitting in his underwear somewhere right now. Yeah, and he's like, guys, he's
like, I can't miss this. I gotta be there.
Scream like that.
No, this is cool. I know, Dave, you couldn't do a show tomorrow, and RGA's, I get it. So I was like, I don't got any plans tonight.
I was supposed to be in bed. I was like literally telling you, like, I'm gonna go to bed, and then like I looked in the Discord, and like we're in a Discord with Andy, and I'm like, I'm not that tired. It's Friday night. I don't have to be in the warehouse till noon.
We're good. Yeah, we had a lot of topics tonight. Blake is just feeding out knowledge to all of us right now. We're learning. Got any questions for him, Scott?
And I know you probably already talked about it, but can you touch again? How was your kicker experience?
It was a ton of fun.
Hell yeah.
I mean, I live 2.5 miles away, so
Bragger.
I was able to just stop by. Bill Frog gave me a full tour of the place.
Who did you get to meet?
Bill Frog and just a couple of the other guys.
I love Bill to death, man.
I didn't get to meet like Ernie or any of the other unmasked people.
It's still cool though. It's still cool.
Did you go to the museum?
Yes.
Bragger.
Both.
Nice.
I told them like you're gonna have to like shoo me out of there with a freaking broom.
Yeah.
Boy, I see you got some test stuff back there, buddy. What you got going on back there?
He's got a lot of stuff going on.
You?
I mean, that's just a green screen.
That's the garage from my old house.
Listen, that's your old house. That's not your garage now. Yeah.
Yeah, so you can I don't know if I can move.
See, now when he
out of the
moves,
way.
you can see. Yeah.
Yeah, you can see only when you move. Yeah.
So
I mean,
you
when
can
you're
see-
sitting still, it looks like you're actually in the garage.
Yeah. So underneath the bench there are load resistors, if you can see those. And then on top of, you see the distribution blocks and all that. That's for plugging wires in for testing amps.
Oh,
the
sick.
load resistors are inverted underneath. And then you can see the AM1 and the DD1 and all that. But it's a different setup in all this stuff is now inside in my new house. So after 20 years, I finally got a man cave inside. So
Yeah, I've seen your
it's
current
all the
setup.
test bench stuff and all of that. So it's really nice to keep that separate from the garage where it's more, if I want to do woodworking or stuff like that, then I can
Hell yeah.
do it out in the garage. Except the garage is not fully set up yet. The inside.
You just moved in there a
focused
couple
on the
months
inside.
ago.
Yeah, I moved in and it was more like 1st of March I was fully moved in, but I focused all my energy on the inside because that's where I have the most fun, So.
Yeah, you came a long way there, El Fuego. You're moving along. You're
See,
moving
from
along.
like right here, it looks like you're dead ass in that. It looks like you're at your test bench right now.
Yeah.
Yep. I know. I told him he
exactly.
got the imaging perfect.
It's the thing that I miss about this test bench and the bench is the actual bench itself is out in my garage now. You can see the wood top on that bench came from a bowling alley. So
Oh, wow.
it was salvaged by my grandfather. So it's all hardwood that's laminated together, right? It's just an awesome stout, heavier than heck. Top of bench, so you can really work on it. So, and that's like a steel structure you can see where you have like warehouse shelving. So I built it all into that. So it's really heavy duty. That's out the garage now.
Nice.
So
I just
I had,
realized
like,
Andy's playing his track in the background.
Yeah,
he has been this
always.
whole time.
Always.
It helps just keep your brain going, so you
Yep.
don't notice all the awkward.
It's
pauses
subliminal.
as much.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, I was struggling when I was down at Kicker, man. I'm like, I need my background music. So they were playing it for you guys, but I still didn't get to hear it. I'm like, it's not the same. It took me a minute.
On those Orion amps, did they sell the Link too, or they DIY like Dave's doing?
no, so they sell the link. You see the link between that? So there's
I see the links. Yeah, I didn't know if they were a homebrew or not.
Here, I'll be right back,
I've never
guys.
been an Orion guy. I don't know the Orion lines.
they're very, very rare, but they're out there. So I've got the 225 HCCA, the red, and then the 250 HCCA with the link. And then on the other side it's the 275 SX and the 2150 SX with the link. I have another black link. I think I have 5 of the 275 SX, Orion 275 SX amps, which were the competitor to the Punch 150. And
Very
then
nice.
I have, I think, 4 of the Orion 2150 SX, which are 2x150. And then I've got, I've just got a ton of old Orion amps. I just like them.
So you don't see them here in Georgia. Like it's mostly Rockford stuff when you find old school amps, and then you find like PBI and some Kicker. But like there's no Orion like old school popping up.
Yeah, in the Northwest here, back in the early 90s, it was all Orion and Rockford. There were hardly any other brands available.
Well, Blake wasn't even born yet.
Yeah. Genuinely.
I'm getting to be the old fucker too. It sucks.
Oh,
Sorry.
you don't rank, Scott.
Hey, I'm the dirty
You're not
30
old,
now,
bro.
man. I'm a man now. I hit 30. I made it.
Shh. Tell him, Fuego. Tell him.
I
That's old
think
fucks.
from what I know, there's 2 things I know. One, I share a birthday with Kicker. The other thing is I think I'm going to catch up with Baba in February.
Heck yeah.
Oh, hey, wait a minute. Scott, you had back surgery, didn't you?
No, I need to have back surgery. They want me to have back
Oh,
surgery, but
okay.
yeah, I shattered.
But you
up
got
two
back
L2s
issues, though, right?
Yeah, I broke my back in 3 places. I had plastic surgery on my face twice. Dude.
Okay, so
I forgot about
that automatically shoes them up like 4 years.
Yeah, I'm seasoned.
Halfway to 40 now,
Yeah,
man.
dude. I'm not gonna lie though, dude. Like being straight up with you, like a lot of times the back stuff doesn't bother me that much. Like I shattered L2, L3, or 4. But like for instance, when I went to Vegas,
Oh, then you ain't got real back problems.
Yeah, I know it's scary, dude. I actually had like the first I walked so much at the airports from between LAX and Atlanta. Like it was like hard to walk to the car, and it was like the first thing is like, oh fuck, I'm getting old. Like this sucks. Like I had to like take a pause for a moment, like sit down. I'm like, this is not cool. But
I'm gonna have Leah make you a cake.
yeah,
I think it's just because we don't go on walks, we don't exercise, we're not going to school, we're just on our computers and playing with our base, and we're just not active.
Yeah, my arms are good. I've been picking up big ass subs all day.
Yeah.
But
I mean, that's
funny
all we got is shoulders. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
going like this with ceiling tiles, but I'm not walking anywhere. You know.
the funny thing, like, you see like the on this day, the whatever the other day where I was like drunk, climbed up in a tree or whatever, and like I would never think about climbing a tree now. I'm like, what, dude? I'm now walking up to a tree and jumping up that thing now. Like, no,
Your Jaeger issues.
yeah, no, dude, that was like, that was a crazy night. But I don't know what the fuck I was thinking.
We burn all our energy when we're young, and then we got nothing left when we're old, and just yeah.
Look back on it, and we're like, yeah, I used to climb trees. Like, no, yeah.
Back in my day.
Back in my day.
Fuck yeah.
Very good.
Shit.
What do y'all
What
do?
kind of mod is that, Andy? What kind of mod
What's
are you
that?
using? What
This
mod are you
is-
using?
Well, I use the Smock tank, even though it's discontinued really now, or they're
Huh.
about to discontinue it. And then I forget what this is. Aegis.
Aegis.
Sorry, my lighting's really bad because I got it turned down. This thing's
I have
beat
the
up.
same mod as that one. I just started using the disposables, and like I never looked back. Like
Really,
Really?
yeah, I'm just
Yeah.
stuck on the peach rings. That's the only reason pulling me to this type of vape.
the you get to the point. I mean, Andy, you're aware. Like the big mods are really nice. You can blow big clouds, but like if you get in a situation where they have like dead batteries and all that shit, when you go out to a show or something,
That's where
like
I had
that,
to go. Yeah.
Yeah, then so like it gets to the point. I was big on the big mods for years, and then my ex got me on the disposables, and I just never looked back. I never even charged the mod. I don't know how long.
I've used the real cheapo ones at Sheets, because like they were
But
like,
it depends on what state you're in though too. Because I
Yeah.
couldn't get, dude, in Georgia, it's like a freaking smoke shop and gas stations. Like these are rechargeable, like USB-C and all this stuff. It lasts like a month per one, like straight up.
Oh,
But, like,
wow.
when I was in Reno and stuff like that, you couldn't find. There was nothing. You had like the blue e-cigs and like stuff like that. Was it?
yeah. Just menthol. That's all you get.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I bought some like off-brand peach thing, and it was just disgusting, and it wasn't even like nothing. But
Coslick over there with old
he's over
school
here like,
cigarettes.
fuck you guys, yeah. Marlboro Red. He tested no. I can almost see Dave being like, "What's the Indian?" Okay, Newports. Yeah,
Newport
never mind.
100s. That's what I used to smoke, man. That's why I'm like glad
That's
I
how you know
don't smoke.
David is fucking
Yeah.
hood deep down. Okay, like he will fucking cut you, dog. He's yeah.
He knows what Newport really stands for. I can't.
Hell yeah.
Oh man.
You said it.
I mean, you don't. I don't know. That was bad though. Somebody said they can't stand the E6 stuff. I dipped and smoked for years, man. Like I don't know. They just had to make the change.
I dipped in high school.
My
I
daddy
couldn't
was a
do dip.
dipper, and then I started.
couldn't
I
do dip.
couldn't. So I was a tattoo artist, and you can't legally dip in the state of Georgia inside of a tattoo facility. It's like bloodborne pathogen health code stuff.
Ah,
So I started
Wow.
smoking cigarettes, and then it was like, and then if I was somewhere else I was dipping, then it was just double whammy of bad. So I was like, I need to end this path. I think it's like 2015 is when I switched to squad. Yeah, like 2015 or 14 is when I switched to vaping.
yep. Yeah, I quit just when prices first made their jump up, because I used to pay like $5-6 a pack for Newport, and it went up to like $8 or $9, and that was like 2016. I'm like, you know what? I'm quitting. I bought 1 pack, and then that was that. Because I used to do both.
Have you guys got your lung scanned for like popcorn lung or anything like that?
No. I just do this thing where I just don't go to the doctor and hope I don't die now.
You know what I do?
A specific type of vape juice that caused that. They identified what it is.
That's how we know that you're young, because me, like, I'm smoking knowing this is how I'm gonna die.
No mystery shit. You know it's gonna kill you, right?
He's gonna look death right in the eye.
Like,
I've had some real close calls, but usually what it's from is just inhaling that liquid and hitting your lungs. And it was real bad in the beginning. You know, I would vape too much. I wouldn't change the coil, and it would just dump juice down my throat. And, you know, I'm not thinking anything of it. Next thing I know, I wake up in the morning or in the middle of the night, and I can't breathe. And I feel like, you know, like my airway is just constricted, and I'm like coughing up like phlegm.
I've never had that happen. That's scary.
Yeah, that's this juice and these coils. If you go too long, it just starts dumping juice, and
They call it tastes like Grandpa's pillow when the coil's old.
Oh my god.
That or perfume whenever the juice is old too. But
it said Blake likes Cubans. Blake, do you smoke cigars? Oh, gotcha.
I don't smoke anything.
Bragger.
That's good. Don't do it.
Don't start.
Don't do it. It's not cool. It's not cool.
Just piss it away every week.
Serious question. You a pot smoker? Serious question.
Who?
Fuego.
Fuego? He looks like he used to. I used to.
No, the reason there's a couple times we had captures of you. It looked like, you look like you're stoned, bro. It's so funny.
You're probably just in deep.
Andy, seriously?
He was just
looks
chilling
like he definitely totally avoided it before, and now he is totally down with it.
No, we got a policy at work where it's like a 0 tolerance thing. I'm not.
Yeah, same here.
Scott has never smoked a day in his life.
I mean, the adjacent.
One strike
So
out at my work.
there's DD, and then right next to it is 3810, which is where SoundCube used to be.
Speaking of, we'll
And
talk about that
as well as some like other businesses, and the most profitable one in there is a big dispensary. So, I mean, one of my coworkers.
Is there something wrong with smoking weed now?
It's like legal now, I think.
It's Schedule 1 drug on the federal drug.
Now that it's all legal everywhere, now that is there something
Except
wrong?
Georgia. It's not legal in Georgia.
Yeah,
That's the weird thing.
it's legal for medical use in Oklahoma, but it's not hard to get a med card.
No, I believe
The,
this is
so
no recreational.
SoundCube. I
now.
just picked up SoundCube for distribution, Blake.
Mhm.
Me fucking sick.
Yeah.
I seen you had some SoundCube there, Scott. You picked them up for distribution? Is that what you
Yeah.
said? That's awesome.
Sky High and Chris from Limitless bought them. And,
Right, so yeah.
So it went hand in hand. So, like, all reality, though, like, John, Robbie, and I, the owner of Sky High, are pretty good friends. He's pretty much like, hey, you're my Southeast guy. I'm sending you this. Like, sell it, and we'll figure it out. I'm like, okay. Like, sounds good,
awesome.
man.
Mhm.
So it's pretty
awesome.
sick.
I feel like they fill a need that you have too, of type of product,
The thing, I mean, SoundCube it really is. I think it just needs a good kick in the butt. Like, there's a huge following for the brand and people that love
yeah.
it. As long as it has a resurgence, like of the support behind it, people are going to support it. Like, I was kind of underwhelming it at first. I just saw just the overwhelming positive feedback of people that are like either had it or loved it, or when it was audio cue and stuff like that, and then just want to see it, grow and be supported. So it's going to be really cool to be part of it, and it's also going from direct to distribution and dealer network, which is going to be sick too.
Yeah, because SoundCube, they just, with everything falling apart with COVID, it's been like focus on DD, and then SoundCube fell by the wayside.
Yeah, but they
Wow.
get some really good stuff too, man. I'm excited to get the
Oh, yeah.
product up there and play with it, and they get some good stuff, and there can be some new
Yeah, I
stuff.
mean, SoundCube has a hell of a lot of potential.
What do you think about the 4-inch coil subs, the HTX 18s, PDs or whatever it is?
Yeah, I mean, like Shane Suburban has 6 of the HDX4.
I was hanging out with him at
15s?
Sky High. Him and
Yeah,
his wife.
and like he's got the record and Street Beat 3, and
Wow.
like he's got the record, I think, by like 3 dB over anybody else.
We're putting 4 of the 18s in Casey's truck on 2 Salt 8s, and playing with them, see what they do.
Always switching it up, Casey. Always.
Yeah, I mean, like it's a more affordable sub, so I mean, like it's probably one of the lesser expensive builds we'll have in there. But again, they're pretty badass subs. They're 4-inch coil, got a big motor on them. They're 18s. They're like the FS 22 hertz, so I mean, it's like they should smash those pretty good.
Oh yeah.
What's the FS on the ones he has now? Like,
Low, I don't know. They're fully custom epoxy cones.
You don't even know. Don't even know.
A lot of moving bands.
The only thing with Shane's subs is that he could get free recones from DD. So he like every single time that I'd come back from a hiatus or whatever,
You're stuck making chain recones.
I didn't make any of his recones, but I'd see that he was getting recones.
Dude, he sent the freaking A sub and a windshield on over the weekend.
Oh yeah, he pops windshields like that.
They say it's like on demand, like 163 on tap.
Wow.
Yeah, it's not even a. It's not even a. It looks like a B pillar, but it's like a B and a half. It's like almost a C pillar.
Jeez.
And it
got some leg room, huh?
Not even
Yeah, he's got plenty of room.
Yeah.
You know that amp. You know that, and you see that picture I posted of all the SoundCube amps on the back wall.
Yeah, that's his.
Yeah.
With the with the CCA wiring.
Yeah, I'm not gonna play, guys.
wing.
I'm probably gonna start stocking CCA. I'm being straight up with you. One on CCA.
Yeah.
So I'm doing like a Sky High wire feature and benefits thing, and they have the highest copper to aluminum ratio. B also Sky High is gonna be making the SoundCube wire kits now. Dude, every build that was there at the Sky High thing for the most part was all CCA. Every freaking one of them. So the Limitless one was like 7 years old. John's Sky High monster truck had like 9-year-old CCA in it, and it was perfectly freaking fine.
I mean, I feel like it has its place though, because you think about it.
If you're prepared to do overkill amount of runs for the same thing, do it.
Yeah,
it's almost like that
as long as
happy
you know
medium.
what you're doing with CCA, it's wire.
Sure.
Yep.
Well, is it cost-effective?
Yeah. If I was
running that much more wire,
I'll do 2 CCA runs. You know what I mean? So, like, I guarantee you, my Salt 12K at the 3 feet runs or 3.5 foot runs or whatever with dual inputs, it would have not made a damn difference of CCA or OFC.
Especially in that short distance too.
Yeah.
Right.
It'd be a little bit lighter too.
And we're talking about $200 difference in wire for do those runs versus not. Sorry, Fuego.
What's the max amperage you can run through like 1/0 CCA on a standard amp wiring kit for whatever?
Typically, the amperage rating's fairly close to the same as far as what they rate them at, and but there's not really like a good amperage rating for the thing. Like there's kind of like a cheat sheet you go by. The thing is that I feel like the biggest difference with the aluminum is not as conductive as copper, but I mean so you're gonna need more aluminum than you would copper to do the same connectivity. But I mean, like on the same two-sided coin, you see people doing aluminum bus bars on their freaking lithium banks. You know what I mean? So, but I just recommend going overkill with it. Again, if you're going to do one run of OFC, go do 2 runs of CCA. Like as long as you're prepared to do that, you're still going to be cheaper and you're going to be fine in performance. And then
just think of running like 2 gauge OFC or something. It's like in between. Because you might not need, like say you had 4 gauge OFC from Best Buy or Walmart or something like that, and you got 1,000 watts, but you want a little better power wire. You could run the 0 gauge CCA, save some money, and you would be fine within reason, just like anything. It's just like running smaller wire, but I don't know. It's not like I have anything against it. I really don't.
The biggest thing is the corrosion and degradation of it being aluminum, because obviously aluminum corrodes. You've really got to do good connections. You need to be doing the sticky heat shrink. You need to be crimping them. I would solder stuff if you can, and just make sure those connections are covered and that there's not exposed wire to get corrosion up in the jacket.
Is it just me, or has the price of OFC gone nuts?
Try being me, I sell it, bro.
It's insane.
OFC 1 almost $6 a foot.
Copper is ridiculous right now.
I mean, in the last 18 months, it seems 24 months, it's just gone. It seems like it's twice as much as it used to be.
In my 07 Civic, the SQ build I was talking about doing, I'm doing a CCA run in it, and I'm gonna do a video or like a test thing. I'm gonna do a how does it hold up in Georgia 1 year. Because I really only need one run for the back anyway. Because I'm splitting off into 2 4 gauges for mids and highs amp and a sub amp, and I'm gonna run one onto the back. I'm pulling like 100 amps max, maybe 120 if I'm lucky. Under full tilt. I don't think it's gonna be an issue, to be honest with you.
Everything within reason. Everything.
The CCA, you need to run about 50% more CCA compared to copper.
Sure.
But it's way cheaper, way wider.
And I mean, like I said, if I'm running something that a single 4 gauge should support, like a single 4 gauge OFD, a single 1 odd CCA is going to be fine.
Oh yeah.
But again, like I'm also, don't plan on putting 615s and 20,000 watts in that car and upgrading the electrical. You know what I mean? Like
exactly. Yeah.
Right.
It's going to get a nice AGM when that stock battery dies. Okay, like until then, it's going to be sending it.
We almost need a conversion of like watt per dollar per amperage, of like comparison of all. I mean, each wire is different, of how they make it, the type of, heat that they can take and stuff. Flexibility. Vega can do it.
I was going to say, Vega can do it, or we can have you do it, buddy. No, all I want to see you do now is, have you tested the Boss amp yet?
It's on the wall. As soon as I get the amp dyno set up, it's probably going to be the first one. Sorry, Bobby.
You're going to use the bass knob?
That Boss is beautiful. Huh?
You're going to use the new bass knob on the test?
Oh, heck yeah, dude. Yeah, that's what it's for. Heck yeah, dude. It's pretty cool to set up. It just automatically connects. The only hard thing about it would be hooking up the 12 volt, because you need to. It comes with like a barrel connector, and then that barrel connector goes into here. So then you would just need to, for this to turn on and off, you almost need to hook up a relay to it. So in a car, it would be a little bit harder for me. I'm just going to unplug it, just unhook it.
Yeah.
That's what
Is that Williams? Is that Williams wireless?
Yes.
Okay.
Have you seen Sean? We showed you Sean. You saw Sean Ludwig's bass knob he's coming out with?
So what?
Sean Ludwig's bass knob he's coming out with?
No.
Yes.
Oh. Yeah, it's like it's a volume. It's got like thermal. You can do like a battery maintenance stuff on it. You can take and play a video game on it. And
really?
Same kind of.
Oh, you talking about? It's got like an LED screen and everything on it.
Yeah.
LCD.
Damn.
He's got refined. He's got like the cases made now. It's got a little bit more stuff. You can do like you can do a tone generator with it, a frequency sweep, all kinds of stuff like that with the bass knob.
So it's basically just like all of the SMD products in one thing for the most part.
Oh, for sure. Well, like I don't know if it does clipping. I don't know if it does. I mean, it might do clipping. There's some stuff it doesn't do, but I mean, like it's pretty sick to see. And a lot of people get mad. And you're like, oh, it's like this product and stuff like that. I'm like, in my honest opinion, it just like his bass knob and like the other one else stuff. It's just bringing us a standard level of expectation we want for features to be brought to market. Yeah, all it's going to do is make the bass knobs and all that stuff better on everything that we buy. Because next thing you know, we're going to have wireless bass knob modules coming from OEM manufacturers.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Yeah, all in due time, man. All in due time.
Yeah, I fully support the wireless bass knobs, assuming that they've got like a small battery.
Yeah, I like that.
As long as it's got a battery that will last, like I think an hour is the perfect amount of time.
And or give me like a really nice braided USB-C cable that I can run it off of while it's charging.
Yeah, this does both, which is nice, because I know the Down for Sound bass knobs, you have to have them plugged in. This has a battery in it too, so you can, like you said, charge it, which is even better than the kicker, because the kicker is only battery operated. But I mean, it's not really pulling as much, and it's not displaying as much too. So
does the battery last a pretty good while on the kicker one, or no?
I've only had it die 3 times in 2-3 years, so it's about a season. Get a season out of it, Yeah. I'll be cranking on that thing over and over. Now the bass knobs themselves, I'm on my second one because the first one the cranky went.
My first bass knob, like the very end of the potentiometer, it'd be like quiet, loud as fuck, quiet. And
Yep. Yeah. Mine it's like stopped working. I'd have to like push it, tilt it, and then twist it up, and it would go up. I'm like, okay, we're just gonna leave it wide open. God. They're
don't
not
even
gonna
have a bass
do 'em
knob to
again.
play around with.
Bragger.
Damn.
He's got
Yeah,
that big
'cause-
bad. He's got bass perfect all the time.
Yes.
You use the red lines, don't you, in your car? Or no.
So I've got a pair of the 1100 Series 12s
Oh, sick.
in my
Some
car,
of them
and
do have
then
red lines.
the amplifier is a prototype that I doubt anything's ever going to happen with it, which is why I don't have a bass knob.
It has the output for like a RJ11 style connector for a bass knob.
Yeah,
It
it
probably-
does, but
Probably generic potentiometer probably works with it.
Yep.
probably. I've never tested it out or
Yeah,
anything.
I would bet money. Only thing that matters is like a few different manufacturers. They'll change the pin out on the what wires do what on the bass knob, but as long as like more times than not, dude, especially on like a China build house amplifier, they're gonna be the same.
Yeah.
I
I'll
feel like bass
probably
knobs are.
ask Steve about it.
The
Steve's
only
the
thing,
amp
the
guy at
misconception
DD.
most people have though is like like will this bass knob with clip light on it work? Like no, it has to have the chipset on the board.
Yeah.
With a clip light,
Right.
but
Right.
bass knob, the potentiometer is not that complicated anymore.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I
they
got an
usually.
extra PCR1 if you want it, Blake.
I'm good.
There you go.
There's so many bass knobs hanging around DD. Like I'll just next time I'm in, I'll just ask Steve.
He's gonna be like, yeah, it'll work.
Do you even bass knob, bro?
Oh, another
I
shirt.
never used the bass knob for the longest time, because like even with the Shark amp, it came with one, and I used it. I'm like, I don't really need it. And the kicker amp obviously came with it, and I started using it, and I'm like, this is nice, and I feel like it's nice so that you can set your gain, but give yourself some headroom for music that quite isn't recorded as high as everything else.
Mhm.
And you can get that, or just it's not as loud, it's just bass that you could send more, I guess per se past clipping of
Yeah.
whatever frequency you're testing at, so you can get more
With
of that.
all knobs to the right.
Yes,
The
at
one
the end
thing
of the
I've
day,
noticed,
yes.
is where I get into redundancy, where like I have the inline RCA bass knob, and then I'm using the Salt one all the time and stuff like that. But I'm about to be ditching the Salt bass knob for the back with the inline because I'm doing the 6 amps.
Hey guys, I got a real quick question. This industry related. So I got a call from Jaime Palafox from Agora Auto Sounds. He's telling me that Pack Audio is going to be using some pictures or maybe a vid of when they were building my truck in a new catalog that they're making. Do I have any grounds for like royalties, or is there anything owed to me?
Not really, no.
Not really, right? Yeah.
Yeah, no.
In today's standard, I mean, yes and no. You could make a big deal about it. It's going to
generally
cost you
speaking,
some
like
money, even
In
if.
your, it'll be to the
If
shop.
you-
Generally speaking, the shop that did the installation, unless there was like any kind of disclosure or like terms made that there was supposed to be no photos of it taken, or they probably have something in their
Fine
receipt
print.
or on the bottom of it saying like, hey, all photos taken inside the shop, or
We're able to use photos of your vehicles when it's in our
Yeah,
bay,
sure,
blah, blah, blah,
everybody.
blah,
Yeah,
blah.
when we
Right.
take the photos, it's our property, and even if you did have legal standing, you wouldn't get any money. You'd just get the pictures removed.
I would just flex your feet and
Why would you
show
call it
everybody your
photo?
badass truck. Just think about it as being cool though, like it's just your
Oh
truck.
yeah, no, because then you can get like the brochure or whatever and show everybody like, hey,
Oh, this
that's
is
mine.
my ride. Yeah.
Yeah. Bragging rights are way
Bragging
better
rights.
than lawyers.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I wasn't trying
I-
to get anything out of it. I just thought it was odd that he called to notify me. It felt like some kind of legal obligation call. It didn't
Exactly.
feel like, hey, bro, you're gonna get the hookup. Your shit's gonna be in a Pack Audio catalog. I'm like, okay,
You're like, thanks. I'll probably never need a pack thing ever again unless I buy another truck. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
You'll have to pick me up to that catalog. I want it.
oh for sure.
No, 'cause I told him when it comes out, I'm like, well, shit. Tell Jeff Smith, send it to me when you get it.
Yeah.
They probably called. At least they called you out of respect though, and like let you know and stuff like that. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, they're hella cool.
I know. I had a problem one time for my show. I was, taking pictures and stuff and videos and how I do. And this one girl, and she made this big deal about it because in my videos, if you see it's one clip where her hair is just going flying up. Well, it looks great. It's cool. Usually people don't care if they're in a video. She cared because she was actually cheating on her boyfriend that day. She was with another guy.
Oh my
so she
God.
made a big deal about it. And one of her friends that she was with, he was like, yeah, this is why she's just getting wrung out right now because she said she was somewhere else. And here she is in your video with me. And I'm like, oh, if that's the case, I don't even care.
Yeah,
but still.
Get bit, buddy.
Yeah. So next show, though, I still, just... because it was hot, I'm like, here, just sign this piece of paper.
Before I do hair tricks though and stuff like that, out of respect, like a lot of, obviously if you're at a show and everybody's taking photos, videos, doesn't matter. But for the most part, I try to ask them when they're in my truck, like, hey, do you care if I record you and stuff like that for doing hair tricks and stuff like that.
Right. I know. I felt kind of.
I'm not fucking asking. If I don't know you, I'll probably ask.
I know. I felt kind of bad whenever I was videotaping at Slam, but I'm like, with the GoPro just running, but I'm like, man, I want to get this footage, but at the same time, it's like, I'm like, no, I didn't really ask permission, but it's okay. That's why I've been kind of slow on posting them up.
Actually, in the disclosure for Slamology, it has a thing in it, like all, any photos and video, like you can't have your photo taken at any time and stuff like that inside Slam. Like they can use it for marketing material.
Oh, wow. They own you for those 3 days.
As far as any photos are taken, like you can't, they can use them for advertising.
Yeah, that's probably what kind of fine print that Baba signed or something, or, whatever the situation is.
He just signed away his soul, no big deal.
Yeah, they actually own your truck now, actually.
Is that why I got that 15% discount?
No, but that's the thing, is I was trying to angle more audio work, bro. That's all that was.
Right. Just be like, hey, next time I need something, let me know.
They'll give you a sweet discount
me, right?
code on a pack harness for the next vehicle you need in 10 years or something like that.
Yeah. Hey, it's just cool to get your build out there, man. I've had a lot of people come up to me. Hey, did you make any money off that video from Subs R Us that went like 3 million views? I'm like, no. They're like, oh, well, that's bullshit. I'm like, I don't care. It got public, whatever.
Yeah.
Recognition.
People are blowing up, and I'm like, I'm never gonna see a dime for that, but it's like, that's my freaking truck right there. Like,
Yep. Bragging rights.
On that note, though, fellas, it's 3:00 in the morning here. I'm gonna go to freaking bed.
Yeah, it's
what I was just about to say. See, Scott, I'm glad you joined on. You're the only one who knows how to tell people it's over.
Yeah, sorry. I wasn't even gonna get on here. I literally told like 4 people, like, I'm going to bed, whatever.
Yeah, no, you're good. It's 3 a.m. for me too, man. Hey, it's been fun. I'm upset El Fuego's not here, but El Fuego, thank you for joining us. Baba,
Blake, it's good to see you guys.
Blake, Scott, and who else do we have? We had a few other people, but I appreciate you guys. I'm tired. It's the end of the day. I've been streaming for way too long. I love you guys. We'll have to do this again. I like doing
definitely.
these.
Right on. Till next time, guys.
All right, everyone's leaving. All right, Baba.
All right,
appreciate
take
you,
care,
man.
brother.
Hey, you too, man. Be easy.
Have a good night. Bye.
Thanks, man. See you, bud. And that's it. Thank you guys for watching. This is Andy's Extras. And Dub Team, appreciate you. Dave, SJC, I don't know who else is watching still. Jeff, appreciate you guys. Man, I am exhausted, but it's fun. And I wanted to try out my new little night scene. It kind of works too. And had nothing to do, so I was like, I'll go live. I like to do this maybe once a month, especially when things start to slow down, just so we can congregate and not put all the burden or all the weight onto RGA shoulders. We'll make it happen. I'll see you guys next time. Stay living loud.